this platform is independent, and we wanted to work with everyone across the spectrum. So folks are invited to share what they know, and the viewers makes their choice, and we ask the questions and we give the just the opportunity to answer.
This craziness, man, I do not care. Why am I so anti-establishment? Because of what I've seen the establishment do to people. That's why I cannot be pro-establishment.
Power is in the hands of the people. And it really did. What we all witnessed is the government, they knew that they were heading in the wrong direction. They knew Gambians are speaking in the same voice.
What law in the books that says the government has power to come out and go after folks' private citizens' properties and demolish them because somehow the government interest?
The only way that we can salvage our country is when everybody gets their hand dirty. Don't sit there with your expertise and just to procrastinate everything that people say or pontificate, what everybody says or does. Let's get our hands dirty.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Another Sunday for the people, by the people. I'm sure most of you are saying, what's going on? What happened to the other, like Karamba would call them, the two Jesuits? My homeboy, Sariang Marong in Vancouver, he's going to be, he's actually busy, very busy. So I'm not sure whether he's going to be joining us. And Pasamba Jau as well, he's at work. And it's a last minute thing. We were thinking about canceling it. But then we said, this is something that you guys look forward to. So say, you know what? Let me try it another way. This program, this show belongs to all of us, all of you that tune in every Sunday. So we're going to kind of do it a little bit differently. I'm going to be joined by Karamba Ture. We're going to be talking about coalition. I mean, everybody is talking about it. I mean, there's not a single politician that would have an interview without the question being asked. In other words, are you interested in a coalition? What kind of a coalition are you interested in? We all know that the current government basically came to power through a coalition. We all remember what happened in 2016. Some of us have been around this political arena for quite a while now, going all the way back in the early 2000s. And this issue of coalition has always been debated, discussed, disagreement, sometimes contentiously. What do you call the right way of forming a coalition? Why do we even need a coalition, if you want to call it that? If we say that we want to build a democracy, we want, when everything is said and done, for the Gambian people to decide who is going to be the next leader. Why do you need a coalition to do that? People would say it's a multi-party democracy. In other words, let all the parties go out there and campaign and canvass for votes, and then people make their decision who they want to vote for. But also, there is a reality that sometimes when people talk about coalition, it's because governments in general, there's what we call incumbency. When governments will use state resources, state machinery, they have the bully pulpit. Usually they have the state media and all of that. So there are certain advantages that governments tend to have that you can't just, the opposition cannot match it. So in most cases, parties would make tactical decisions and say, you know what, maybe we need to come together and do whatever we have to do in order to be competitive. And some would even argue that the current government itself, led by the NPP and President Barrow, it's a coalition of parties. So when you have, when you're going to run against a government that is made up of different parties coming together appealing to different communities, it only makes sense, if the opposition, if they are serious to see how do we come together, and also if we really want to be formidable. So coalition is always, and it's not only in the Gambia. There is always, wherever you go, they always tend to talk about, especially in Africa, when we don't have term limits. I mean, when governments tend to be so powerful, I mean, the incumbency advantage makes it very, very difficult for one single party to challenge the status quo. And that is why there is always this talk, how do we go about forming a coalition? I mean, there was an interview that was done by Garme, I mean, iAfrica, with the lead counsel, the former lead counsel, SFL, and a question was asked about coalition, whether interested in a coalition and things like that. And the response that Eza gave, I guess Karamba Ture and a whole lot of other people responded to that as well. Some very critical of the response that Eza gave. Eza talked about you cannot put into consideration what he considered historical data. And that kind of, so that's why, I mean, I reached out to Karamba that maybe let's talk about coalition in response to some of the questions that Eza gave. And also, most people are saying for Barrow to be defeated, there has to be a complete coalition of all the parties to come together. And some would argue, if we don't do that, the chances are, I mean, Barrow will be re-elected. At least that's what some of the argument is out there. And that's, again, my brother is going to join me, Karamba Ture, and then we are going to talk about coalition tonight. And any one of you out there, if you are interested in chiming in, and this is something that we talked about a few weeks ago, that we want this platform to be very interactive. You guys tune in every Sunday, and some of you guys have better ideas than we do. Some of you guys actually would want to join and say your piece. And that's exactly what we want to start doing. So if you are interested, all you have to do is just let me know, and I will send you the link. Then you come in and say your piece. Call it 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. But again, we all have to adhere, though, to what this platform always advocates, and that is we want civility. We want to have contentious decisions. Let's have disagreements. Well, let's do it with civility and with respect. That's all we ask for. So any one of you that is interested in joining the conversation, whether it's today or next week or any other week, this is something that we're gonna start doing. And especially the last hour of the program, we want to call it the interactive with our viewers that can basically either call in or dialed in and say their piece as well. I think it's important. So we're looking forward to doing that. So whilst I wait for my main man, Karamba Ture, like I said, some of you guys joining us, I'm sure you're only seeing me, and I'm sure some of you are saying, oh Lord, we don't want to deal with this brother. You know, maybe you're tuning in to see Coach, maybe you're tuning in to see Brother Marong, but unfortunately, both of them are very busy today. And again, we didn't want to disappoint. Said, let's kind of at least come on, even if it's going to be a shorter version of the usual 2-3 hour show, we at least come on and have this conversation. But again, before I proceed, let me bring in our partners, the people that kind of help us put this program together. Yes, that's Global Properties.
Global Properties observes Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Get tested and know your status.
In honor of the fighters, survivors, and the ones we lost, Global Properties is giving access to women to own a plot of land at Greenville today.
We are making it easy. Buy a plot of land with zero deposit and 24 monthly payment for only $20,833. Early detections saves lives.
Yes, that's Global Properties. 20,000. Hey, when I first saw the ad, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm definitely interested in this. But when I called Milan, that is the general manager of Global Properties, no, Uncle Mos, you're not qualified. I mean, it has to be maybe your wife can qualify. Maneko, it's all the same. So again, if you're out there, this is a good deal, seriously. Let's hear from Global Properties again.
No deposit, flexible payment plans, and lots of discounts. Get your Lakeview apartment today.
Yes, that's Nilan right there. So again, if you're really interested in, get in touch with Global Properties. You will have a good deal right there at Gunjur. And they also have other deals, apartments, Lakeview apartments. I mean, most of us living here in the diaspora, you know how it is. A good number of you guys out there are interested in either buying a home back home, building houses, and things like that. And really, this is one way of looking at it. And Sukai, you're absolutely right. What we said was we were going to bring Madi Jobate to talk about the budget. That was the plan, and that's what we put out there. Unfortunately, like I said, both of the panelists, Sariang and Pasamba, they all got caught up. So we were going to cancel the show actually, and maybe reschedule Madi, because if you're going to talk about the budget, really, we have to do it the right way. And for me, just me alone, bringing Madi and then trying to talk about the budget, I'm not sure how helpful that would be. That's why we decided that we're going to reschedule the Madi program. He's definitely going to be here, Sukai. You can bet on that. And then we are still going to be talking about the budget as well. I mean, it's absolutely very important. There's somebody, asking about Dr. Cisse was on Peter Gomez and basically was talking about me. And have also responded on Coffee Time as well. I was on my way to work, and when I tune in, which I normally do every Sunday, I tune in and I listen to Peter Gomez. And Dr. Cisse was there on Tuesdays normally. And then at some point, he started talking about UMC. Somehow, Doctor has become so obsessed with Talib Ahmed Bensouda and the movement. And he told Peter that you will not believe that there is this gentleman, he said, who is the architect of the movement in terms of urging them to bolt out of the United Democratic Party. And now that that has happened, the same gentleman is out there trying to create a reconciliation between the United Democratic Party and UMC. Because these guys, they've become so desperate. They know that it's game over. And so I'm like, wait a minute. Where is this guy, an information minister, to go out there and make a statement like that? I couldn't believe it. Now, let me be honest. This is not the first time I have been accused, point fingers at, that somehow I am the architect of the movement bolting out of the United Democratic Party. And that's further from the truth, really. And even if that was the case, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I could easily say, yes, that's true. But the reality is, it's not true. Digga nekuti lolu is absolutely false. So where did this whole thing come about? That somehow a regular guy like me, I have the influence and the power to convince Talib Ahmed Bensouda, the National Organizing Secretary of the United Democratic Party, Kemo Bojang, Ibrahim Diba, people that have been in the party going all the way back to 1996, like Krafa Sonko, that somehow I am able to influence these folks and say, get out of the party and do your own thing. It is absolutely ridiculous. What we do here every Sunday, we make political analysis, we make statements and things of that nature. 3 years ago, if you all remember, 3 years ago, because I've always believed that there is a lot more about Talib Ahmed Bensouda, and that if we want change, he's the key. Manlola, I've always said that. And you can disagree with me, which is fine. But Manlolu Momo Suma Gisgis. The guy has what it takes to not win elections and bring the transformational change the country needs. That's just me and my opinion. I could be wrong as hell, but I've always held the view. When he ran for mayor in 2018, he was part of the UDP. I endorsed him after our interview on this same platform. So one of the Sundays, when we were talking about the need for the UDP to use Talib Bensouda as a flag bearer, I went further and I said, you know what? Talib Sasoko Gai Buta Chusa Nekan Independent. It was 3 years ago. And I get a lot of pushback from Sekou Sedili, the Bantaba, and a whole lot of other people. The following Sunday, I came back and I said this. I said, what I said, I want to walk it back, that it doesn't hold water. And this is what I said. I said, Talib Ahmed Bensouda was made by the UDP. The reason why we are even talking about him is because of the United Democratic Party. And I said, for Talib to win an election, he's better off being backed by the United Democratic Party, especially an endorsement from the kingmaker himself, and that is A&M Dabo. Look, I've been doing politics for a long time. I understand the dynamics. I made a statement out of an excitement or political analysis. The next Sunday, I walk it back and said, I think I was wrong as far as that statement is concerned. So for somebody to say, you said this 3 years ago, and that is why these people are bolting out the party 3 years later, it doesn't make sense. And then, of course, I did say that, I guess after the formation of the movement, and I came here, and you guys, everyone that comes here every Sunday, I have said that I support the movement. And in the movement, I believe that that's what the country needs. But I've also said, and I continue to say, that the shortest way of defeating Barrow would have been Talib Ahmed Bensouda have been the flag bearer under the UDP. I've always said that. So now, for an information minister to go out there, my friend, listen to this day, based on nothing but speculation, and to make a statement like that, to me, it's ridiculous. But there's a lot more to it, guys. There is absolutely a lot more to it. Last Sunday, I said something. Yes, absent. I already said that. I want you guys, any one of you who is interested in dialing in, let me know. I'll send you the link. And then you say your piece. Definitely. That's what this show is going to be out about today. I wouldn't want to be this single person just doing all the talking. I want you guys to come and be part of it. So I want to go back what I said last Sunday, that somehow I think touch a nerve, especially the information minister himself. I said, This was when Karamba dialed in, and we were just talking about coalition and things of that nature. The last part of the hour, and then I said, Karamba, I would love to make a proposal that some of the movement representative and the United Democratic Party's representative too, let them go to Kaur. There is this nice hotel sitting at the hill overseeing River Gambia, and let them have a retreat, I suggested, for 3-4 days. And I said, like the Catholics will do when they're trying to elect a pope. But for me, my whole proposal was, let them come together, hatch out their differences, and come out with a reconciliation. And to me, I said, that would be the beginning, I believe, a formula that they can take against President Barrow. Now, I did not get into the details. I understand the difficulty when there is a political divorce. I get all that. But I also know that nothing is impossible when it comes to politics. And the fact that these folks worked together before, I mean, their political agenda is not very different. So to make that suggestion, somehow, the information minister, and you know what? I think that scared the living daylights out of them. What they want is a split opposition. What they want for the opposition parties to go out there. Esafal will run on his own, UDP on his own, the movement on his own, DOI on his own. That's the way they want it, because they believe if that happens, they will win. That's what they believe. So that's why he had a problem with the suggestion. But there was something else also that he was reacting to. I'm not doctor. Doctor has become very thin-skinned. And anybody who follows this show, I mean, I've been really very, I would call, supporter of Doctor. I've said on this show, when he actually got appointed as Minister of Information, I said, really, he's going to be an asset for this government. And over time, he was able to demonstrate that. There were a lot of things that he did that I agree with. He has been an effective information minister, but he has also been, I think, very divisive. I also believe that he has engaged in politics that is beneath him. I don't think that he has to do that. Said, I think there is some merit to that statement. Words matter. Owns the narrative. I'm not sure, Matar, what do you mean by that? I mean, I don't know what statement you're talking about. But again, like I said, if you're saying that words matter based on that somehow I am the architect, I'm not an architect of anything. What I am is a supporter of a movement. What I am, that someone who believes that Talib Ahmed Bensouda, if given the opportunity, and I've almost, Matar, you've been here for a while. If he were to be the flag bearer of the UDP, I believe that that would be a very formidable force to defeat President Barrow. I've always believed that. So Karamba, you got the link. Come on anytime. And some of you guys are saying, what I'm going to do, maybe I'm going to put the link on here. Then, of course, I can't bring all of you at the same time. It has to be one person at a time. And when you click the link, I will bring you in. So let me see whether I can do that. So this is the link, guys. And all you have to do is click it, and and then I'll bring you in. So that is the link. No matter, Bilai, I am not, I mean, I would wanna take credit for that I'm the mastermind. I would love to take credit for that. But I think there's a lot more to it than being the mastermind of anything. I'm like quite a few people in the diaspora, and even, I'm telling you, even UDP supporters, seriously, that they were yearning that if this young man were to become like somebody like Musa Sedi and I, we have always disagreed. On this show, he would come and he would critique the things that I was saying. But somehow, now we are on the same team. I mean, this guy has been supporting UDP going all the way back to 1996. He believes and he respects Ousainou Darboe, Alhaji Ousainou. So do I. I seriously do. And that is why when they level these crazy things, oh, he hates Ousainou, oh, he doesn't like this, oh, he doesn't like that. It pains me because that's not true. That is absolutely false. So is Musa Sedi. But all what we want and what we see in this gentleman, and that is Talib, that is, that he can give us the change, the opportunity to change the country. That's what we are all talking about. No, again, Dambele, I have never said Talib to abandon the party and now calling for a reconciliation. I mean, that is not true. I have already explained that 3 years back, I made a statement and then I walk it back and said, oops, nope, actually, he is better off staying in the party, being the flag bearer, supported by A&M Darboe. I know politics. I understand politics. I know what it takes to win. And I'm not, I'm not being blowing my horns, if you want to call it that. All I'm saying is, Haji Hawa, all I'm saying is this. The two are not necessarily mutually exclusive. I know for a fact that the movement and the UDP coming together would be stronger than being apart. I mean, that's just reality. Now, that doesn't mean that UDP cannot win it alone. I'm not saying that. It could. It could. And I'm not saying I believe the movement can win it. I seriously do. But all I'm saying, the surest way, because I don't want us to wake up December 6th and say, oh my God, I wish. Emotions are high. They had a divorce. And I respect that. And they can go and hammer it out. I respect that. I get it. But I also do understand, emotions aside, I mean, I don't insult the UDP. Come on now. Who can make changes in the Gambia? Musa, you always insult the supporter UDP for. No, come on now, Lamin. I have never. That is not even me. I am too old to insult anyone. Do what Lulu. I will never do that. I got a friend here. Ibrahima is joining us. Ibrahima.
Yes, sir, bro.
Ninala, how you been?
Ninala. Munala ka English wala sauce.
You can mungalaka sauce. The only thing is, I am not very proficient in Mandinka. I do understand, but it's not about me. It's about the people that are actually watching. So feel free, speak whatever language you want. And,
okay.
If I don't completely understand what you're saying, don't hold it against me.
Okay.
So, Ibrahima,
Mlapa kamem fwedal. Ndamu UDP supporter la baleti. And Dongelo Nathan Samba Jao and others, many others who support the struggle. But I love to killing Dani Atel Bulokon. Atel Yalon Sembo be UDP la Bulokon. Quite a Musa Jem Fowler. After so I love to Atel support. Atel. Laughter Atel support. You mobilize people like Samba Jao, you mobilize others, strong folks, join hands for UDP. You know people in UDP, their background, how strong they are with the education, with the experience. To change this government that doesn't know nothing, absolutely, to move the country forward. If you have people in the government who are experienced enough, I think it's easier to change so many things that you people are looking forward. than you have somebody reckless who doesn't know nothing, but he's just there because of his pocket and because of people are saying his name. That's all. We all agree on that.
Absolutely.
So to have a better Gambia, we need people like you. Join hands, help UDP, bring them to power. Within UDP, you can change many things because you know. Let's talk about Mr. Dabo, but look the background. Look like Mr. Mane, look like Dabo, look others, the young ones who are behind the scene, the strong men and women who are behind UDP, the scene. You people already know these people. So we cannot do the change if we are fragmented. Everyone is choosing his own or her own, bro. We need you people to support. Without your support, we cannot do nothing. I really like you people. You bring points, you share your opinions. I'm not those with like those ones who criticize. I know you have strong conviction in the country. But we cannot do it all. We are just sharing our opinion without joining hands, giving to one person who we know is more motivated. He's one of who is ready to do everything possible for the country than those who doesn't know even where to go and where to start. But they are in the position that you cannot do nothing. So I just share my small opinion with you. I'm on my way traveling in Milan, so you see the train. So thank you. I share my opinion with you.
Thank you very much.
I salute you, bro.
I salute you too. I salute you back.
Thank you. Good night.
Look, what Ibrahima is saying, I don't think this guy is kind of way off. Basically, what he's saying is, if you guys want real change, and that is me, I mean, Kasamba, and the whole gang, we believe we all come and be part of the United Democratic Party. And that is one way of assuring it can be brought about. He believes that looking at what we have, to fake any change in Buga, the man is basically suggesting, let's all come together that let's all come together and support the United Democratic Party. But I just want to remind Ibrahim Ado, and it is something that they are totally missing, that even the very split that we are looking at right now, or you want to call it the divorce, and some, of course, call it Jamfa. And Karamba, anytime you want, you can just click on the link and I will bring you on. Anytime you want. Anytime you want. So what Ibrahima is missing, though, is even if Musa Jeng, whatever the hell, and I mean influence he believes that I have, and Pasamba, we said, I mean, UDP is the way to go. Esa Jaula, click on the link and I will bring you on. It doesn't give us, there are no guarantees that UDP will win. Because you see, to win an election, it takes two fundamental things. And I don't want you guys to miss this. No matter how partisan you are, no matter Fanganega, whether support UDP or support low UDP, there are two fundamental issues, guys, in winning an election. It's about messaging, that is getting your message to the people for them to have a buy-in. Let's say Sonko, their messaging. The Senegalese people, the majority, they have a buy-in into that message. You don't win elections without people buying into your message. There is also another one. He said, Musa, you will never come to UDP. And it's called the choice of a candidate. You see, when you follow the Democratic Party or even the Republican Party, when they have their primaries, that is always a factor. The choice of a candidate. There is this James Carville, they call him a political mercenary. He was the one behind Clinton, going all the way back in the 90s, they formed this thing, they call it the War Room. And their main thing was they believed that they had the right candidate. Now what they need was the right message. So Lisa Conte called in, Ma'am Lisa. You can always call in Ma'am Lisa. And they had the right candidate. Now they had to work on the messaging, the right message that will give them the victory that they need. Now, for me, look, when Mr. Dabo was this was going all the way back to 1994, and some of you guys, maybe you were much younger, and either you're young or maybe you were not very much exposed to the political dynamics of the time. After the coup d'etat in APRC, and then there was the formation of the APRC. I think that you're biased sometime. Esa Jawla, come and then we can talk about my being biased. So what PPP did and NCP at that time, Jammeh came, banned PPP, banned NCP, formed a new party because he knew the calculation more one day, the politics was dominated by the PPP. So ñoom liñ bëggoon a def mooy to monopolize the political structures. So for the opposition, smart enough, they said, okay, you can ban them, but we're going to regroup in a different form. They regroup and they form the UDP. They have the message. Now they need the candidate. And this was a very good decision that they made. They went and got A&M Dabo. Why was Mr. Dabo chosen out of 2 million people? Out of Gambians that are out there, do you guys know why he was chosen? Because Mr. Dabo was well known in Gambia. Mr. Dabo was the well-respected veteran lawyer. Mr. Dabo was a family man. Mr. Dabo has the character. Mr. Dabo was very non-political. So it would be very difficult for Jammeh to run against an individual like that. So you see, the choice of a candidate was looked at, and they realized that Mr. Dabo is the man. Not because he was the most qualified. There were other politicians that were even much more known than Mr. Dabo. But he became the candidate for that reason because he has the competence, he has the character, he is a family man. And they believe it would be a counterweight to Jammeh. And that's why he was chosen in 1996. So what most of us are saying is, if you want to defend and if you want to defeat an incumbent, or if you form any political party, the two things that you need is, again, you need messaging. Again, you need a candidate. If you don't have that, I'm telling you, it will be absolutely very difficult to win an election. Now, if you don't, I can understand if you support the UDP, which a good number, I would say a majority of a good number of Gambians do. If you look at the opposition, they have more supporters than really any other opposition party out there. I know that. Guys, check the link. No, I send the link, guys, and I can send it again. And Karamba, I'm still waiting for you to join in the show. I'm sending the link again, guys. It's right there. You can click on the link. This guy said that over 39 years of Doi messages is good for Gambia, and Gambia, that's why you tell Talib to form a UMC. All right, check this out. You're basically saying 39 years, Doi has the right message. Nobody would question Sidi Jata or Mr. Salah's messaging and what they believe in. Nobody will question their honesty and integrity. But somehow, they haven't been able to be successful electorally. And the question is why? You see, these are fundamental questions that you cannot just ignore. Nay, because someone doesn't support Party Nangam. No, you don't do that. He said, why do you need coalition when you already have your UMC? See, Lamin, it's not that, like I told you, I believe we have the right candidate in Talib Bensouda. I really do. I believe that UMC also do have the right messaging. And I believe that they can change this country. But I wasn't born yesterday, and I'm not a crazy guy who just go with emotions. Neman lila buga limo wara muna am. Duma nak suma bopa. Do I believe that when I click on it, it stays in the waiting area? No, Karamba, check the second one or the one that I put on the link. You're not on the waiting area though. You're definitely not. Check the second link that I sent on the messenger. Yeah, check the second link, Karamba. I don't think you're clicking on the right one. Esa Jaula. Listen, now
Yes.
I am going to come and take my sister away because you've been giving me a hard time on this show.
Okay. No, you know, Musajin, you are my in-law, but sometimes I feel that you are biased sometimes in your analysis.
Okay, so this is an opportunity. Why do you believe I am biased? And tell me now. I want you to be specific now and tell me on this issue. I believe you are biased. I just want you to tell me where do you think I am biased, and then we can agree to disagree.
Okay. First of all, when you come in terms of UDP candidacy,
yes,
I have just few questions for you,
yes,
and I will really love you to answer that for me.
Yes.
And the first question: what kind of leadership you, Musajen, wanted in the Gambia?
I'm going to answer it this way.
Okay.
And this is my honest answer.
I'm
not trying to be patronizing.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you what you want to hear. I want capacity, somebody who's competent.
Okay.
I want somebody who has the right character. I want somebody who I believe can bring the changes that this country needs right now. And with that, I can tell you, the Mr. Dabo that you support, that I know, the past going all the way back to 20 years, I know he has the characteristics. I believe he has the character. I believe he's a family man. I believe he's a man of integrity. I believe he's a man with competence. I have never said anything outside of that. What I have always said, I don't think he's electable. You see, disagree, that's fine. I get it. Just like I have always said also that Khalifa Saleh is not electable. I have also said there are certain candidates that are not electable. It's not me. It's just my opinion. And there are a lot of people who, it doesn't mean by saying that I disrespect the man. It doesn't mean that I say that. Look, I know if we wake up December 6th and he's elected as president, change will happen. I know that.
Okay. I personally, I never say that you disrespect lawyer Ushendawo because that's your opinion. Not everybody will appreciate the candidate or like the candidate.
Yes.
But I think it is unfair when you say that he is, is not electable because UDP cannot force electorate to vote for somebody. Anywhere in this world, I mean the serious countries, they look for the candidate that have the sympathy for the country. They look the candidacy who, I cannot say corrupt free, but lawyer Usenda, we all know that when you come in terms of his biography, it's not easy in Africa to have somebody working in high rank in the government. And then almost 2 years, up to now, I can even say starting from 1981. I mean, I was not born by then. But when you go after Honorable Hussein Dabo record in the Gambia, up to today, nobody will say that he is corrupt. He worked in the government. He worked with Adama Barrow. Up to today, no individual and no commission whereby the lawyer Hussein Dabo name was mentioned. And then any serious country in this world, they want the leaders who have sympathy for their people. They want the leaders who understand the situation that their citizens are in. So United Democratic Party, we cannot force the electorate. And that is the duty of every political party in this world to present the candidate that is competent, the candidate who have sympathy for the country, the candidate who understand the problem of the country. So the rest is left to the electorate. We are not looking for Gambians. I think we are not looking for somebody who is loved by the people. I think when we are serious about our country, we want somebody who can change that country. We want somebody who will change the life of the ordinary citizen. I'm a son of farmer, and I know the suffering that my people went through, and they are still going through. So then I want candidates who will change the situation of the farmers in that country. And I have this strong belief that lawyer Hussein Dabo can do that. Because a man who was appointed as a foreign minister, and from foreign minister to the vice president, nobody will tell you that he's corrupt. No corrupt scandal that where his name was mentioned. So then when let me finish, Musajin. Let me finish.
I agree with that. You're preaching to the choir. No, the man.
Okay. Just let me learn, Musajin. Let me learn. Okay. Like you said, Honorable Ali Fasalla. Nobody can question his character. Nobody can question his knowledge and his wisdom and the love for the country.
Yes.
So when we say these people cannot, they are not electable because the people, the electorate, I cannot say they don't understand the message that they are giving to them.
Maybe.
I cannot say that. So, but the electorate don't vote it for them based the reason known to them. So I will not blame Halifa Sallah, or I will not say that Halifa Sallah is not electable. And that problem is not Halifa Sallah. The problem here is the Gambians electorate who want to remain in their suffering. UDP have only duty to do, and that duty is to present the competent and the educated and someone who understand the problem of the Gambian. So the rest is left to the electorate. We cannot force the electorate to vote for lawyer Hussein Dabo. Because when you tell me that I rejected lawyer Hussein Dabo because he's not competent, I will understand. I rejected lawyer Hussein Dabo because he's corrupt, I will understand. I rejected lawyer Hussein Dabo because he's not educated enough, I will understand that. But when you tell me that I don't like lawyer Hussein Dabo because it's just like that. So I don't vote lawyer Hussein Dabo because I don't love him. We are not presenting the candidate that will be loved by the Gambian. We represent the candidate that will solve our problem, whether you like him or not. If you want to love someone, go and love your wives. You have children, love those people. But we want to bring the candidate that will change the dynamic or the situation of the Gambian that we are in. So putting blame for you on UDP losing election, that is, for me, I just see it as just mere, I don't know how to call it. But you know, when you come in terms of the Talbe situation, and then Musa, and in other side, I think that you are also involved in this problem. The situation that Talbe is in right now, I personally, I don't hate Talbe. I don't hate him. And even though I'm not in this political party or this opinion today, and I still have this strong belief, he changed something in KMC, and he did marvelous job in KMC. Compare, you know, his previous the previous KMC Mayos. But the Talbe situation now, I personally, I don't have trust in Talbe, not because of his leadership quality. I don't have trust in Talbe, not because of, you know, Talbe is not competent, but I want someone who will keep his words. I want leaders. A leader, when you promise something, you keep your promise. You see, we all say the Barrow is betrayer. Maybe today the people who love Talbe, they will say that Talbe is not betrayer. But yesterday, these are the same people who say Barrow is betrayer. You know, what I understand about the Gambian politics is that we condemn the systems when the system doesn't fit us. So those who said the Talbe is not a betrayer, because for me, when Talbe told me today, or when Talbe tell me today, I see the interest of the country, I will say no, because when Talbe said that I want to unite the country, I will say no. Because when the people tell me that it's only Talbe who can unite the Gambian, I don't agree with that. If Talbe cannot unite the United Democratic Party, a mere political party, how do you expect that person to unite the country? If you tell me that Talbe can solve the country problem, if Talbe cannot stand the party internal problem, do you think that he can stand the problem of the nation?
Fair
As a leader, you don't run from the from the problem. You solve the problem. When Talbe told me that I leave the UDP because internal fighting, and the position he is yearning for,
so
is he going to comfortable with that? So when Talbe see the problem of the country, I think that this is not a right time to bring the division in the political party. And he know that it's only unity can change the incumbency. Why did he bring the unity, this unity right now, if he care the problem of the country?
So let's allow some other people, Esa. And again, I immensely, and I want you to be joining us every Sunday. We will be doing this. The last hour, we will open the lines, we'll send the link, and let's agree to disagree. In that process, anything is possible, Jawla.
That's true. Then thank you for having me. I have to bring my children to bed now because, it's too late here.
All right, Esa.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Karamba.
Yes, Musa, how are you?
Giving me a mouthful there. I ran into him. This was years ago. He's actually my in-law, a friend of mine, Babu Karsila's sister.
Yeah.
To him. The Gambia is a small.
It is a small Gambia, yes.
So I was at Babu Kar's house in the Gambia, and I ran into him, and he said, "Manhamnalade." I'm like, where?
I think a lot more people know you in UDP than in any other party. I'm got a lot of them don't know you personally.
Right.
And then sometimes there is a tendency to kind of overinterpret your analysis or things like that. But I think your approach is good, and you are a man who thinks for himself.
Right.
Why, man? What I want to do is to pivot for a moment to the other issue, which I know is close to your heart. More, you talk about a coalition, and I know you've worked on coalitions for 20 years.
Right.
I have worked with you on coalitions before, and I know you value it as an instrument.
Right.
And then you will say, well, it's the kind of the insurance policy we need to get the objective. And I think there is some merit to it. And Mbolo, Morgan Nyakambolo, especially si politics. So buge mbirmi gena sorti, nim gena gawe, it is the shortest way, like you said. Why sometimes, Tamit, you have to look at the situation as it exists. And then we are all guilty of this, whether it's the partisan people within political parties or independent people who are looking at things from their own perspective. Then sometimes we overlook the actual nature of the electorate. They can be nimmel, and I think if you want to project how you see things onto everybody, then some analysis we do it's not going to be as good as it can be.
Absolutely.
And then what I heard from Mr. Jawla there is, and then I see this a lot in a lot of our UDP people. More than mënuñoo understand that likability is also an important component of people's electoral decisions.
Right.
You can be competent, you can be honest, you can be. am na ñu nga xam ne Ousainou Darboe du seen nit. And then they don't have to have any reason for it. They just prefer somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not a commentary on Ousainou himself, because like you said, you testify to his good character, his competence, and then his love for country. Why outside of that, you think somebody else has something else that you value slightly more. And sometimes that's very, very hard for some of our people to understand. Waji will not be somebody else's preference. It's just human nature. And that takes a little bit of education and things like that. Now, suma position right now on coalitions, moine lubahla. Why the way it needs to proceed, moy ñunga xamne mën nañoo anda ba pare sen anda bi dina am value. Ñooñu ñoo wara xar sen tanki today ñu anda. Am na ñu nga xamne duñ mëna anda. O su fekkee ne bugga na ñoo anda tamit sen anda bi du am electoral value. Loolu njëriñ bi du bari at all. Ñooñu actually they will be better off ku ci nekk mu try to get as much votes as possible in order to defeat the guy. And then sometimes we tend to think that if the votes is distributed, that naturally that will weaken the opposition. Lolu, I want you to take a moment. Yo, am nga fu nga far. Talib Ahmed Bensouda koku nga support. Am na capacity to get people. Am na ñu nga xamne bokkuñ UDP, bokkuñ benen party, and then they will like him and he can get them. Am na ñu nga xamne they are in existing parties, they think he has potential. Munna am ñooñu mun nañoo ànd si riir bi ñu support ko. So he has capacity to get votes. So you then ask yourself the question, what is the best for the outcome that we want? You obviously want him to win. Man dama bëgg mu am maximum number of voters yu nga xam ne man duma ko mën a amal suma parti bi. Because gis nga politics doo si soxor. So si soxoree doo dem fen. You have to understand, and then you have to also be generous to somebody ku nga xam ne mu ngi xeex même xeex bi nga xeex. There is only one incumbent. Everybody is trying to defeat that incumbent. Why the mistake I think sometimes you make mooy ne suñ defutee coalition bu nga xam ne comprehensive na, or at least a good one, we are running the risk of distributing the opposition vote. Why you are also not factoring in the capacity the individual opposition factions have to deplete vote from the guy and then actually beat him. Understand? So that is the way I want you to approach. Talib am na capacity. Dina am ay nit. De ba pare dina muna am some people ñu nga xam ne they are in the political field amuñ doole. While they have a few people, he can draw those people into his coalition. Why you also take Canada and then for him to sit down with UDP. Let me put you in his position. You are in Kauru there. You are part of the delegation. You invite us, UDP will come, for example. I'll just give you just an example. We come in, and what do you put on the table? To kind of try to put this omelette back into an egg. Because Genana UDP Moy won the best chance for him in terms of political ambition, and why nekatu for gain completely. Yonga ne munyo del si wat fofu nonu. Ci ban anam la del si wat bobu nonu di munat sote. You just walk me through how you will make that happen.
Okay. Hamga Karamba, if we go all the way back, we've always had this problem, even prior to 2006. Because it's always difficult when you look at the political parties, you know what? I don't think this thing is going to work. But some of us believe it can actually work. So coming back to the question that you are asking, let me turn it around a little bit. Before Talib left UDP, say Talib, let's go back to when Talib was just with UDP. Okay. And then now we're looking at a divorce happen, and somehow there is a reconciliation. I'm not going to get into the details of what do we put on the table. I'm just saying, let's say there is an agreement, and then there is a strong reconciliation. Both sides understanding we are better off together. Do you believe that would be much more formidable than before we left?
Okay.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the devil is in the detail, because I know, and you know, I'm not naive, for them to really sit down and talk about this thing, but there's a reason why they left. And that lobby hasn't gone away. That's what they held. And when I say reconciling, I'm not talking about reconciling tomorrow or after tomorrow. Like they always say, like Senegalese, reality sink in. Now I'm hoping whether it's the UDP or it's the movement, they're going to go out there and they're going to see reality. Do I want to wake up December 6th and then this man is re-elected? Don't mess up. When that happens, when people are faced with realities, then any kind of solemn sonye, if you find a way to let them sit after they realize, I think there is a possibility. The humility, being humble, saying, you know what, maybe we can find a common ground. And anybody who thinks why this suggestion, let's just go to Kaul, let's find our differences, and let's select Ali Bensouda to be the leader. When you don't know me, I'm stupid. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm insinuating at all. All I'm saying is, if both sides understand me, they are better off together. Strange things have happened in politics.
Okay.
What's wrong with giving it a chance?
Okay, good.
Do I believe that the movement can win? Yes, I really do. I really, really, really do. But Talib going out there and what I'm seeing behind the scenes and what their strategy is, it can work. 2026 is not going to be 2021.
Yeah.
But I wasn't born yesterday. I don't want to wake up December 6th and whatever I wanted to believe in goes out there on thin air. And I'm like, I'm going to wait for 2021.
Yes.
What you are suggesting, Mala, I've heard you, and I've always said, if UDP is going to win, that is the way that they will win. Meaning,
yes.
Ali will get enough votes. SFL will get enough votes. They will get enough votes. Get enough votes. And UDP maintaining its base, they will sneak in a win. On paper, but man, I know that the psychology of the Gambian electorate doesn't work like that.
Okay. Here is my response to that. Gizinga, in every transaction, that you have to look at the value. What is the return in terms of value?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Well, in any transaction, Dangawara said, what is the value? What outcome be land more value before each side? You are right, it was a divorce. Gizinga, what every other coalition you have been involved in previously did not include this kind of a unique situation. Understand that? This man was part of this party, is a serving elected member of this party, and that there was only one thing on the table, that is who is supposed to be the flag bearer. Now that outcome is what precipitated the divorce. So, Purman, that creates a movement. Talib Fimnekani, he has pulled the trigger. He has to execute the movement.
Yes.
Now, can the movement be complementary with UDP? Yes, they can be. Because they are drawing from different wells. Lolala explainer.
And I agree.
Yes. Because they are drawing from different wells, then you have to ask yourself politically, what is the most valuable strategy for both to pursue? The most valuable strategy for both to pursue Moi to work on expanding Sen constituency. Because when they expand their constituency, in UDP's case, is base consolidation and then going for a slice of the persuadables. There are some unaffiliated people that UDP can persuade. I'm not independent, you have the UDP munul lena persuade in anything. So Nyonyo, those are prime candidates for Talib.
Yeah.
Understand that? So and that is it's a good chunk of the electorate. Lolu buko heb. Okay, that is a very, very good chunk of the electorate. So then what is valuable and what will give us the outcome we all want, Moine, for UDP to do well and for Talib to do well, because they can all do well on a parallel track. There is no conflict here. Man wahnala from day one, Talib Ahmed Bensouda do am UDP based. It's not possible because that is not a commentary on him. Why UDP based they are loyal to the party. If Usainu Dabo Subaye party be doing Andagmom, they will stay with him. And then that is very hard for people to understand. When you're on a wealthy party, Usainu Dabo, he's been there for 30 years. Yes, he's been there for 30 years because party be more the vehicle. So again, doing kotofa. That is very hard for non-UDP people to understand. So UDP base be Dinafaneka, and UDP strategy is exclusively focused on adding to that base. Talib is not taking our base. He is taking some prominent members of our party. Yes. Why UDP? They can't. They will not be able to do it. And then it's not because there's anything wrong with them. Politics and all why the base of the UDP. And last week I gave you an example of Tumarakaji Ibrahima. Ibrahima di Basali Kenya la joge, Badi Busali Kenya. Understand? And he's a powerful politician. He cannot deliver Sali Kenya to Talib. Not for lack of trying. Why Duko tries, because Hamnane Duko Def, because he understands the base. This is the example I'm trying to give you. Why Talib has tremendous capacity to get other people doing UDP. So if we all work on parallel tracks, Mujil as many voters as he can from all these other sources. Because Gambia do UDP rec. I'm not other people you doing UDP. Understand? So nyonyu munna am nyonyu te nyonyu nyoy dole bi. You know, so if you want to help the outcome because you want the solution. You danga buga rek waji neka state house na dem. Understand? And then you want your guy, and I'm trying to tell you your guy can win.
No, man, can win. Like I said.
Yes.
Why I'm betting on cost.
No, Limala suggested Moine. You cannot bring
there are things that one needs to win an election.
Yeah.
And that is, and I think he has that.
Yeah.
He has what I would call the likability. And I believe see, if we go back, this analysis that you're giving me, you gave me this analysis back in 2021.
Yes.
You say this going all the way back to even 2011.
Yeah.
That let every political party go out there and harvest a lot of votes, and that would make it difficult for Jammeh to win.
Because you know what is different?
Hold on.
Yeah.
An election cycle after election cycle hasn't worked.
Okay.
In 2021, you made the argument.
Yes.
You are not too crazy about this whole coalition talk.
Yes.
You're like, you know what? No, we don't even have to go there.
Yes.
Because we form a coalition because there was an existential threat.
Yes.
For Jammeh, existential threat. So we needed to come together. Now that we are also in a democracy, this is an argument that you've made before.
Yeah. Wow.
Doesn't work.
Yes.
You think like that. I remember after the elections, you like, I've had it. I'm out of here.
Yeah, because
you're totally disappointed.
Yes, because
Esafal was your go-to.
Yes.
He is going to have a lot of votes in the greater banking area and in other communities. Manala.
Yes.
Esa will be lucky, so I mean 1% from ranking.
Oh yes, you were right.
And from that day on, Esa did not like me saying those things.
I understand.
I was reading it. Look, the Gambian voters.
Yes.
Like you see, we are different. And when I say the psychology of the race, I believe we won in 2016 because people believed that we could win.
Yes.
They believed that we knew it together. It means that this person will be defeated. But if you don't give them what they need, they get the viability, the formula to win. Karamba, you can analyze it all you want.
Okay.
But December 6 will be disappointed.
Okay, let me just come back to you to explain to you why this this one is different. Gisunga, you are right that I probably thought Eza would do better than he actually had capacity to do. And then that might be a function of the fact that I do like Eza. Because Dama Fogne, he represents the kind of politics that we need to bring in. More politics ham-ham.
Right.
Politics that is based on ideas. Understand? And I know the Doi people always keep reminding me that that's what they have done for 30 years. Amut Traxon. Why? What is different is if the message is not resonating, then if the messengers change, sometimes that has capacity to resonate. Understand? Why? Also, Tamit, you have to also not underestimate the capacity of the guy you are supporting. And his capacity is different, qualitatively different from Esa. Because Esa came as a new person, while Kimunge knew as a two-term mayor.
Yeah.
Bepare Tamit, Esa has deep pockets, yes, but Talib also has deep pockets, but then he also has a record to run on. So I think he has greater capacity to do better than how Esa did. Understand? And then Talib also has capacity to get NPP people. Nyunga hamne nyungi NPP, and then they are not too happy over there. He can get some of those people, and that is why the government is much more fearful of him than us. Mom lengena ragal because Momo am the larger capacity to take from them, their people, because they know their own kinds of voters. So all of the things that you are seeing they are doing is geared towards going after him. So if Talib is able to believe them in any capacity, and I don't want to overestimate how much he can do that. Why, if he can bleed them across the country, even to some extent, because Hamalne Barrow is not that strong, Musa.
No, man,
in the best of circumstances, yes. In the best of circumstances, he's not that strong. Why? Tufekene Amna, just two formidable opponents, each biting significantly across the country, especially Sidegi, because Lututi political margin boom amsa Sidegi laneka. I am not trying to be over optimistic. You can just defeat him Sidegi completely. No. Why munga ko na chap benga hamne by the time munga nyo si kombogi, he's weak.
Yeah.
Okay. To do that, you need more than UDP to do that. You need more than UDP to do that. UDP will do its part. Why, if you have a parallel party that is not poaching UDP votes, and then conversely, UDP is not poaching their votes, you are going to elevate their capacity to beat him. Understand? So there is value in that. If you negotiate, you can negotiate it to where, because if you ask your movement people, because they have people looking at their numbers for them, the people that are coming to them, you're doing UDP, they are coming from the other side. Lots of them are coming in the other side. And I think they will do even more and more and more. When you guys start rolling out in URR and in CRR particularly, and then you do the right kind of investments there, and then get the right kind of people, you can get a good chunk of their people there. And then I am told you guys are going to go aggressive, a lot. And I am cheering you on that. Hamna, if you do your things right over there, why I'm not tapale ibari nañ fa de mun nañu ñew na dañu fogg ne you guys have truckloads of money and then they are just there for the money. So I know you will probably be working out for that.
I'm your man tamit ci degg la jugé.
Aha, yo xam nga nit ñi fofu.
I can tell you this.
Yes.
I've seen things behind the scenes because I support the movement.
Yes.
Anybody who thinks that this movement is just launched like any of these other political parties and hoping is KMC and West Coast and Greater Banjul area, you take it.
No, I know you guys are making moves in the movement. I'm not yes.
The movement is in it to win it. And they're not just basing it on, crazy ambition, raw ambition, and that's about it. No, it's not deeper than that.
More time, Musa Mandamane, you need to execute.
2026. I have come to the realization now. We've always talked about coalition. When I listened to the interview SFI, I listened to it. I said, I know we all want a coalition. But I think it's much, 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 much more difficult than we even realize. And the idea we should invest a lot of time in it. I was just talking about the movement and the UDP.
Yeah.
And I am not a coalition like 2016.
No.
From day one, because you Kebafun launch here in Atlanta.
Yes.
I told you I'm not part of it.
Yes.
That's why I said I'm not part of it.
Yeah.
Because I know Blue Nekalu Yamba.
No.
I listen to SR. You see, the idea you're going to walk into a coalition with all the parties. The question was, let's take historical data and put it aside.
Yeah.
Then the issue is going to be who is the electable candidate. When I say that Mr. Dabo is not electable, it's me saying that. I'm afraid it's not saying Mr. Dabo.
Of course, I don't agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Dabo is not electable. So you have millions of people saying who's electable and who's not. So you cannot say whoever is going to lead is going to be somebody who is electable. But how the hell are you going to determine that?
Yeah.
What is the criteria to say key more electable and key more not? Electable. I'm just basing it on my own.
No, Esa Fall is a lawyer, and part of what lawyers, their training includes negotiations. So buge negotiate lunga hamne, you are trying to build consensus. You don't approach the thing by floating preconditions, because why would anybody sit with you? You are saying you have a subjective criteria about electability. You don't want historical data. Negotiation on political arrangements. Ngane, you are not going to look at the performance of the Kuchineka ban equity in Indi. The equity of a political party more your performance with voters.
Absolutely.
That is the only equity you have. So yeah. I think I like Esa, and I think he has potential. Why I was very disappointed in his approach. UDP will not talk to him if he has that precondition. Why would they talk to him?
Look.
Why? Look. Why would somebody come to you and you don't have any elected representative, but then you have a big precondition, and that precondition more your electability. So I think he probably made a mistake there, and I'm sure when he sits at the table,
yeah, and one has to respect that.
Yeah,
he wants to run, which is okay, and he believes he can win, which is okay. I don't think there's any candidate who's going to go out there when you don't believe you can win.
Yeah.
Now, for me, when I saw your posting, I said we need to be cautious, because if we want to even entertain the idea of sitting down, there should not be any preconditions.
No preconditions, no.
Then affaire bi dafa yahu ci beginning bi. Do them fee be fee. Now,
Haral man ma wax la suma formula for a coalition.
Anybody who thinks let me say this before I jump in.
Yeah.
Do I believe UDP is going to sit in a coalition and then allow an SFL or any of these other candidates that did not perform more than they did coming back to 2021?
Yeah.
And then UDP will just fall behind you. I mean, you really need to check your head, because that's not going to happen.
No.
I don't believe it. If that's your approach, then don't even entertain the idea of sitting down with you.
No.
And that is not to say UDP no problem. Any of these other parties form on 26 or 27% of the votes, you are not going to readily say, okay, it's not going to work. In as much as I believe, I seriously do believe, and I said it here, that it would be difficult for Mr. Dabo to win.
Yeah.
I have the reasons for saying that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that he cannot win.
Yeah.
But I do know he's not going to step aside. I mean, what happened even within the UDP itself, this whole split, it came down to that.
Yeah.
So why would you think, if Mr. Dabo wouldn't allow to hold his party together by just stepping aside and allow one of them to lead, you think, he would form a coalition with other parties and allow that party to lead?
Yeah.
Come on,
I think you are reading the tea leaves right. It's not only UDP or it's not only unique to Gambia. Look at everywhere else in the world, Musa.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
look at look at everywhere else ci àddina bi Musa. Nit ñu bëgg a toog waxtaan coalition, they do it around the realities that they face. Here is what I propose, and then I'm speaking only for myself.
Yes.
This is not the position of our party. I have not discussed it with anybody. This is just my opinion as a citizen. What we need to propose, mooy ñun UDP. We will propose let us do a party-led coalition. Suñ candidate be one term la moo saaf. Ba pare do endorse anybody that is going to succeed him. Su fekkee ne kooku si UDP la jógee or any other party. He is going to, if he is elected, he is going to remain neutral throughout the transition period because it will be considered a coalition government. Now, he is going to pledge publicly and legally and in a binding fashion ne benn term la saaf. Moom ci boppam. He is going to pledge dinañ pass the draft constitution and any other reform package bu nga xam ne the coalition partners consider it a priority. They will put all of that on the table beforehand. 1 year before the term ends, ku nekk ci biir coalition bi and then you are serving in government te da nga bëgg a compete to succeed the person, da nga resign from government and then nga focus exclusively si sa campaign bi within your parties. Ba pare tamit reform agenda bi bu ci nekk dafa am a specific timeline. For example, dañoo ne within 1 year dinañ pass the constitution, within 1 year dinañ pass these other changes to legislation, within 1 year dinañ def lii dinañ def lii dinañ def lii. Ba pare they all of the reform proposals yi nga def, they have to be scored in terms of if you are telling us this is what you are going to do, it must say this is how much it's going to cost and this is how you're going to pay for it. And then you stipulate all of that beforehand. I'm going to lay propose for everybody. If you believe in this, come and then you can join us. Now, in return for joining us, you can be part of us executing this for the Gambian people. And then you put it out there, and then if people want to come, and then they believe that that's what you need to, because nit ñi ñetti affaire lañ ragal. Mooy self-succession, ñaareel bi mooy to use incumbency to disadvantage them politically. Ba pare tamit third mooy to use executive authority to basically pour nasaxal leen throughout the coalition government period. So if you have to give guarantees upfront, not only verbal guarantees, but then guarantees you nga xam ne they will have trigger mechanisms in them that people can believe. And then you put it out there, then ku fognet that has value for them and they can support it. ñu nga xam ne gomuñ ko ñooñu tamit ñu dem ut ñeneen ñu nga xam ne they are like-minded people.
I'm not Kalamba.
Yes.
I like everything that you have said, but coalition building, there has always been what we would call the big things. I don't think the difference is what we are going to do in terms of, like you said, passing a constitution, like you said, making some of these changes in policy prescriptions. What a problem before you? Problem becomes down. There's a trust factor too, Karamba. When you're telling these people that we went through this in 2016, everything that you have said was part of the deal. Everything that you have just enumerated was part of the deal. And where are we? They walked away from it. Nobody even wanted to talk about it. There is a trust factor. And I don't think that these parties, Malawi should be bigger. Because when we talk about a viable, complete coalition that works, and I'm talking about a coalition that Doi is going to be part of, the coalition that Mama Kande is going to be part of, the coalition that Esnafal is going to be part of, and the movement is going to be part of. And no disrespect to the other parties. I'm just saying. And then, of course, UDP. Now, to think, man, these parties, knowing what I know, they are going to abandon and then come and be under a party-led coalition. I don't think that's going to happen.
And if that doesn't happen also, Musa,
we wanna in any kind of negotiation, there's nothing wrong with UDP coming to the table with that position. There's nothing wrong with that. And allow the other parties to also come to the table with their position. And here we hammer it out, then we find a common ground. Because obviously the reason why we're even talking about forming a coalition, we know it's difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah, Lima mean moi, Musa, I understand that part.
Would come. Fatu, I've sent you the link. In Natamas, I've just put back the link.
All right, Musa, let me let other people also come in, because you can have a much more diverse thing. While Lima explain more, if you have to set the parameters of what you are willing to put on the table. No preconditions, term limited, and then when I say term limited, what is going to be qualitatively different from what happened in 2016 and this one, Moine, this one you have to get upfront buy-in from all of the parties, signed. Upfront. And then you publish it after that. Upfront, declare this is our position. Not only to your coalition partners, but to the country. Man, Lee Lidef. Understand? Just because somebody was now ahead doesn't mean that you should not actually do a solemn pledge. But said the record of the person who is making the pledge.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think it can be worked out that way. Why you cannot have preconditions.
Before you leave, definitely.
Yeah.
I've always been known to be the person who supports coalition. Why
yes.
It looks like they are going to go out there and everybody will fight for himself.
And Nachawaji, them defeat. And then I'm telling you, Musa.
What happened in South today?
Amal confidence.
Are running.
Amal confidence that you guys can win or we can win.
Like I said, I told you we have a path.
We cannot both lose, Musa.
I think the last Cyprus poll said this. I mean, we're not doing it. We're basing it on on data.
Yeah.
60% of the electorate, they don't want UDP on the double.
Why
a good chunk of the young voters, they're saying, it's in the light. This guy is the
get as many of them as possible, and then and I'm telling you, if you guys win, I will be very happy for you. Dinalen congratulate. I'm not gonna be sad if you win, but at the same time, Tamit, I want you to put in the calls. If you call in the calls, you win. Nga call, I'm congratulating.
Let me say this: if Dabo wins,
yes,
I think change will happen to the country.
Yes.
Always said, my problem is not whether he can govern.
We cannot both lose, Musa.
It's always whether he can win.
Gomal, we cannot both lose. One of us has to win.
I believe that too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Sister Chuka, where you at?
Wow.
Yes, I have not a mass also, but Chuka, you were first.
No, my contribution will be short. Nduina Karamba.
Yes, Karamba. Yes.
Wow, he's always brilliant, of course. Mom, he always puts his points across based on substance. Utena ak maka kuka yenen ñu nekk ci biir parti bi di terrorize nit ñi fu nekk, and that's the sad thing. Xam naa ne ñu ngi ci suuf moom dinañ ma saaga dinañ ma xas waaye I'm used to it by now. But this is what the conversation has to be. We elevate it to substance. The fake change in your politique, Gambia du musa change, because ñu ñoo politique noonu la ñoo isi ñi nga xam ne ñooy nekk ci kanam ñu ñoo sànnil ñu ñoo sànnil suñ lañ fa tegee muy presidential muy parliament bi o lu munti nekk ñoom ñoo ñoo jiite ëllëg, understand nga? So definitely Gambia, I think suñ buggee change foog ñu elevate the conversation, because yeneen dëkk yëpp elevate nañ seen conversation bi su lu nga xam ne moo yóbbu seen dëkk yi kanam. Gambia rek nga gis ne politique bi ba léegi dañoo xasante di saagante di waxante yoo xam ne du affect nit ki life am or du change nit ki life am for the better. So I hope moving forward, and I hope ne UDP ñu ma diga Karamba mu ma diga Karamba amoon na a conversation with him, and then I'll get to the point. I hope ne ñu especially seen executive bi to do the needful when it comes to their supporters. It is very important. And I'm not just saying that because of me or other people in BMG or whatnot. But pour dëkk bi mun a jëm kanam, foog ñu am political civility. Foog ñu am discussions yoo xam ne dafa elevate the minds Yeah, not personalizing things, and insulting people, castigating people, trying to intimidate people, to silence people. People like me, man, what na ko besona. Man, there's nothing in this world, inshallah, that will silence me for my political beliefs or my activism belief. Because when I started, nobody told me to get up to do it. My convictions made me do it. So a human being cannot actually make me stop, because it comes from a deeper source. It's from God. Like, I just want people to understand that. And it's just not me. A lot of people that are activists by heart, right? That do it day in, day out, that they have nothing to gain from it. Nobody is paying them a salary. They're just doing it for the goodness of their heart and for the love of country. We all share the same sentiments. We all share the same values when it comes to the way we see the world and the way we see humanity, the way we see our countries, right? So I hope the average politician or the average supporter of a political party understands the minds of activists. It's stronger than just blowing a wind or whatever, or blowing air and then having them to be quiet. No, there are some people, they will get up and they will be quiet. Then nopi. Why there's some of us, the belief is something too deep to be silenced by just intimidation. I just wanted to get that out of the way, and I'm pretty sure they're at me right now, but I care less, right? But we move on. When it comes to UMC, ak coalition, ak UDP, ak ñom Essa Faal, man, actually, I believe that Sobeya Essa bimu waxe, what he said, he has a point. Because again, when we're looking at things objectively, no emotions attached, which is what we all need to do when we're looking at country. Because do muna jital dika, be pare ngay am emotional attachment to individuals. Suñ ko jëlé at that approach, duñ musa make the objective decision when it comes to dika bi. Yeah? So su fekkee ne ñu ngi xool things objectively, whatever strategy we put in place, anyone, whether you're Gambian nga, Senegalese nga, Japanese nga, Chinese nga, bo xoolee strategy bobu, it needs to make sense and it needs to fit. Regardless of the people ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñooy nekk the subjects in the matter. Understand nga li ma wax? Now, if we want to win Adama Barrow, coalition has to happen. Because it's the safest way. It doesn't mean that it's impossible, right? But it's the safest, and we can get him out of there. And the stake is too high. For what it's worth, we cannot gamble. On the contrary, understand? Because you're talking about 5 years of people's lives being stagnant. So don't wanna gamble. It's not like you just wanna buy something white or black and you make a decision. No, you're talking about a whole country for 5 years. So you have to get it right. You have to do everything you can possibly to get it right. And that means strategy being put in place. What are the chances coalition first? Now, okay, nga pass the coalition. Okay? But lan moy attributes nga xamne moy put this coalition together. The first thing first. The other ones are important. But the first things, Monica, an electable candidate, a winnable candidate, a viable, winnable candidate. That is imminent. That is a must, because without that, you're not going to have a change. So, lolo mo wara neka sa number one mission, or sa number one agenda. Nga isi ko xamne soko tege next to Barrow, the chances pour nga Daniel Barrow in the setting of a coalition is very high.
So Juka, take off fofu. Ni all of you want to take fasat loho.
Okay.
Hamga, this is where it gets complicated. Linga wax yep ñepp nañ ci d'accord. You want to put up a candidate who is electable, who is winnable, who can beat Barrow. But most of the time, your ningo gise can be subjective. You said objectivity, but it's about subjectivity. If you ask Karamba Toure, he would tell you who is the winnable, electable candidate.
No, that's where you go to data. So hear me out. That's where you go to. One second. Okay. 1 second. Hear me out.
Let's go to
Musa. That's where you go to data. That's not
let's go to data.
Yeah.
Let's go to data.
Okay.
Let's go to data.
Okay, so that's where you okay, man young mahar. Okay, I'm forgetting you're gonna speak.
No.
Okay, so that's where we go to
Right.
yeah, I got you. So that's where we go to data. And when we look at, let's say, the last data that was collected, or even before you talk about the last data, right? You put up the candidates that have been here before. The only person or the only people, Monica Halifa Sallah, Uncle Usainu Dabo, Uncle Halifa Sallah, Uncle Usainu Dabo, both call them the same way. Okay, both of them have been here before.
Right.
Now we don't know PDOI's can jital, but most likely it's going to be him. I'll be surprised if it's not. Right? So data has shown us they've both went into election many times and Mununyo actually win election. Now, we cannot sit here and argue with the people, the voters. We cannot also be mad at the voters for the choices that they've made in the past. Right? Because Halifa Sallah and Uncle Usainu ñoom ñëpp mën nañoo wax ne they should be able to govern this country, not even in the same level as Barrow. It's not even comparable. But voters, for some reason, there has been a disconnect. Joxuñ leen carte yiñ soxla. ñoom ñaar ñëpp. And also, when you look at the atmosphere, when you speak to people, right, different ages, different demographics, you will also hear from people that they're saying they need fresh faces.
Absolutely.
This is not something I'm making up. This is what you hear often people are saying all over across the country. Right? That could be triggered by, let's say, what's been happening in the sub-region in terms of changes, right?
What we see in Senegal.
And so many other factors, right? We cannot negate that fact. Now, back to the last data that was collected. I don't have that in front of me.
The Cyprus polling.
Exactly, Cyprus.
Yes.
There is something there profound to also look at objectively.
Right.
That will help you come to the same conclusion. These last two people that I mentioned that have been here before, the likelihoods of them putting you win a coalition lead.
Right.
The numbers, the data is in there to back that.
Right.
So lolu fofu lay waxe.
So Juka, I'm gonna let Nata come in. And before that, I just want to say this. You said data. I mean, ESA basically dismissed historical data.
I disagree with him. Put always agree with him, like in totality with everything he says, right?
UDP's argument is this, and I don't have to make it for them. I'm sure not a word. They're saying, among all the opposition parties out there, total number of votes we gathered over the years, no single party has come anywhere close. And if you want to look at the 2021, they're saying, even though they thought they were going to win, they had good votes. Etafal had 2%. They got 27%.
Right.
They're saying, how in God's name do you want somebody who has 2%?
No.
And 27%? No support. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, if I can come in quickly, I know Nata has to come in. If it's okay, man, after Mama Bailen, or maybe I stay put.
No, stay on, because I think we have to have honest conversation. What both sides, all sides are saying. But
right.
I'm already one Lulu.
Yeah.
I don't think Mr. Dabo under UDP is electable. I've said that. I mean, and it gotten me in trouble, and I've said that. But I also do know. I understand if we're going to form a coalition, why they believe they man go money. UDP didn't get into a coalition and allow another party.
Yeah. So if I can come in there, Musa, I've always said that based on historical information, right? It seems like when UDP is part of the the sit down meeting or whatever you can call it, they would always want to lead that coalition.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just what it is. Now, when it comes to what Esa said, with that part, the first part, I agree with him. You have to have a winnable candidate. Without a winnable candidate, you might as well just sit down and fold your hands. It's pointless.
No, winnability, Mom. It's such a...
Yeah. But it's not subjective because there's data there that you can draw your conclusion from. Now we move forward on what he said in terms of him dismissing the data that was there before in the last election. Now, I won't dismiss that data completely, 100%, but definitely that data has changed because data does change based on time and events.
And I agree.
Right? So we cannot negate the fact that a lot of things happened recently. Now, if you told me that, let's say last year or 7 months ago, I would tell you definitely, UDP still was the biggest.
Right.
Right? Now,
things have changed.
Events have changed. Events have shake up things. Now they can sit here and say, right, that it still favors them. The numbers are still there, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna, Karambasuma brother, be last weekend, I think, he was saying there, oh, those are just individuals, but that's still a percentage, Karamba. You cannot say those are just individuals and refuse to put a percentage. Even 1 or 0.001% is still a percentage, but you still refuse to put a percentage. But I understand you did that. You did that favorably to your argument. He did that to favor his argument, which I understand, right? It's everybody, right? But then he's saying, okay, mom jogena, mom mugi talk UDP, and a lot of his family members voted for KMC Talib. Okay, but then also you have several individuals that also left UDP. A lot of their family members also voted for Uncle Usainu Dabo.
So Juga, Nata, you've had the conversation. And thank you for calling. For the first time, I believe you were here before when you were launching your book, I believe.
Oh yeah, I was. And excuse the voice because coming out of a cold. So
no, it's all good. It's good to have you. So you had the conversation. You heard Karamba. You heard what I've said.
Yeah.
I'm sure you heard what Juka just said. And
so Musa, I'll leave you guys. I'll join later if I can.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
So what say you with this whole talk about coalition and the approach and all of that?
Where the sticking point is going to be, like what will be the modalities for a coalition. So I know what Karamba was saying, I have a lot of agreement with that, obviously. And then I have some agreement with what you were proposing as well. Like when he was suggesting, oh, imagine we come to Kaur and say we're going to have a coalition, and then you gave him an example of how it's going to go. I agree with that to a certain extent. Like let them all go, assess their strengths on the ground, and then when they meet at the table finally, they will know what each is bringing to the table. That approach I accept 100%, and that's where I was going to jump off to join in when you guys were talking about that, because what I was thinking, just like Karamba, I didn't consult anybody. I didn't suggest this to anybody. I'm not speaking on behalf of UDP, just as a normal citizen who is invested in Gambian politics. But that I thought was a good jumping in position. So when we talk about coalition, for example, UMC came about because they believe Mr. Dabo is not a winnable candidate.
Yes.
Just citing their reference. So they formed their own movement. Okay, fine. UDP decided we are going to select Mr. Dabo as our candidate. You know, you guys can say he's winnable, he's not winnable. We have a democratic process. We went through it, and he's the one we selected and the one we're going to go with in the election. So now you have a potential clash between these two. Let's say they all go on the ground, assess their strengths. And when we talk about winnability, I think it comes down to who do you like? Because basically, for me, I've always said it. And in fact, I think I made a post way back, which you commented on, when Talib was going to split from the UDP. I said they're going to impact the NPP more than they will the UDP. Because if they're able to take people from the UDP, to be generous, I would say maybe 3,000 people. But even that is being very, very, very generous. It's not going to be that much. So and I base that on one assumption. A lot of people in 2021 were saying, Dabo Duwaya, we're not going to vote for him in 2021 because some people were angry from 2016 what happened, or you know, they bought into the lies that were peddled by NPP about the tribalism and all that. So out of that frustration, or because they want to deny the UDP, they said let's vote for Barrow because you know the other candidates don't have that much potential. So in there in itself is a fact that we're trying to split hairs about. Like, why would people say that if they believe that, you know, it's a two, like you like you always say, it's a two-horse race between NPP and UDP based on the numbers that we have, right? So when people assess that and said, okay, if we don't maintain Barrow, UDP is obviously going to elevate into the position of the presidency. So all those people, it doesn't mean they are NPP. They just wanted to stop the UDP. So when Talib comes in, naturally they will gravitate towards him. There'll be other people also who are independent, you know, maybe have sympathies for the UDP, but believe that, you know, we need change. And because they in 2021, they also sided with, you know, Barrow. And then, so basically, most of the people who will be in the UMC will come from other sides rather than the UDP. So if we're talking about winnability, data is important when it comes to polling and stuff, but it's kind of like a snapshot in a moment whenever we look at it. But when you look at the historical data that ASA tried to dismiss from the last elections, which is the most concrete data we can go on, of course it changes from year to year, from month to month, it's politics, it changes. But if we go by that data, UDP had 27% of the Gambian electorate. Compared to how many percent, how much does he have? So if we're saying winnability, and then, okay, let's pick a candidate who is winnable between Esa Faal and Mr. Dabo. Obviously, going by that data, we'll say Mr. Dabo is more electable because he had 27% support from the Gambian people, and Esa had like 2 or 3% or less. It's the same argument in 2016 when people say, oh, how can Halifa be there and then people elect Adamo Barrow? My argument is in 2016, public sympathy was heavily invested on UDP because of what they went through. So if you select a candidate other than someone from within the UDP, it's not because of Adam's personality or his looks or his anything. It's because he came from the UDP and public sympathy was with UDP. So if you select anybody else, you are likely going to jeopardize that coalition process. That is how he won over a more qualified candidate, which is Halifa. So like Karamba was saying, I believe if Halifa becomes president, the Gambia will be better off than it is currently. If Talib becomes president, the Gambia will be better off. My preference is UDP, obviously. And same thing with Mr. Dabo. So the arguments that we're having all this back and forth with is basically to say, when we're talking about a coalition, it's going to be difficult to bring two people together at the table who decided earlier on that they no longer match when it comes to their analysis of what the outcome is likely going to be. So let's say, for example, will Dabo yield to Talib when we all go around the country, assess our strengths? UDP already, basically, you can say maybe we are overconfident about our strength, but we know our base has not been, you know, dwindled that much. If we lose anything, it's probably 1 or 2%. So we're still sitting at 25, 26% of the electorate. So if you bring Mr. Dabo in, and then Talib also goes around the country and realizes, okay, I have maybe 17% to 20% of the vote. So now we need to form a coalition. Because he already stated that he doesn't think Mr. Dabo can win or is a winnable candidate, will he yield to a democratic process that says we selected Mr. Dabo again? Let's say, for example, a coalition process that we used in 2016. We have primaries, and some will say, oh, that was unfair because GMC and all that, they voted for the UDP. I actually had this debate with people. They said UDP should not even present a candidate in that coalition talks because it is likely that they could win. And if they win, people will not support them.
That's a non-starter.
Right. So that's why I kind of yielded to the position, okay, if there's this trust issue, which I 100% agree with, there's people who say we cannot trust the UDP in a coalition. Okay, fine. You have that trust issue. So because of that, you say UDP should not lead it. But then the other option is the only way UDP will lead that without any challenge is to say we are the biggest party, we want a party led, and then the others agree. That is out of the question as far as some people are concerned, or most people are concerned. The second one is let's go to primaries like we did in 2016. But now if you're saying that, oh, we cannot do that because UDP is likely to win because, you know, when push comes to shove, people will say, oh, they have the largest, so we might as well just, you know, cast our vote for them and then Mr. Dabo wins. If that happens, will the rest also decide, okay, since this is what the people decide that Khalifa did it in 2016, even though he's more qualified than Barrow, will the other people decide to do that? That is where the sticking point is. Like, however we cut it, that is where it's going to be. Will Mr. Dabo say, okay, this democratic process has been completed, Talib has been selected as flag bearer, I'm going to support him. What about the people in the UDP who are subject to a UDP internal democratic process, and then they selected you as the flag bearer? What about their choice for you? Even though they had the choice to go with Talib, that will be that calculation. What are you going to abandon those people and then follow Talib, even though he left the UDP? On the other side, if Mr. Dabo is elected, then the people on this side will say to Talib, oh, Mr. Dabo was not electable, that's why you decided to leave the UDP. Now that they selected him, you're telling us to support him again. Like, how does that make any sense? So that's where the whole issue is, and that is what we need to figure out. There's no need to, drag each other through the mud or insult each other.
No need for that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of choice. I feel like this person can win because he's the one I like, he's the one I'm going to vote for. But when it comes to qualifications, like I say this and people attack me for it, I believe there's two political parties in the Gambia in general. It's the UDP and PDIS, because if you look at them in, ideology-wise, that is where you find the difference. And those two people, the reason I stick with them, like when people ask me, is because they've been consistent for all these years that they've been in politics. So change is not a bad thing. If people feel like, okay, we've been treading this path for so long and it didn't take us to where we need to, let's try a different path. I may disagree with the path you're trying to take, but that doesn't mean that you are wrong. It's a matter of perspective. At the end of the day, that's all politics is. This is how I see it and I feel it's right. No, you are wrong. This is the right way. We can never really agree on that. Even something as, cut in stone as religious doctrine. We have 4 schools of thought in Islam. So something as so clear-cut as one God sending one message, but even following that messenger, we have 4 different paths. Politics will obviously create all those different paths. So we can talk about all this and the differences that we have in terms of approach. But like you said, we can assess our strengths on the ground. And when we come to the realization that, hey, Adama Barrow is a threat to this country, nothing is working and we need him to go. Like I said, Khalifa or Esa Falwo, Mamakan, anybody who comes, I feel we have an opportunity for change. Before they grow wings that are going to be like Barrow's wings, we can clip them within 5 years and then bring in somebody else. That's my whole philosophy of politics. You do right, we keep you. You don't do right, we kick you out. We exert our power. So when we all go on the ground and assess our strength and feel like, okay, guys, for me to win, then I'm going to move forward. But you assess with all sincerity. I went around the country, the data came in from Gambia participates, and I'm not, past 5%. Then obviously it is best for you in the interest of the country to say, let us craft a method where somebody else is going to lead, and me and people who support me will back that person and support that person, which is where the other point that Karamba said. I'm not saying this should be the final conclusion. I'm just saying there's a proposal.
So I wanna throw this thing at you, and I said it here before, a trial balloon. Like you said, look, we can, if we're to go using historical data, I don't see. I mean, you cannot do this without Mr. Dabo leading. It's just the honest to God truth. Going back to 2006, I remember, Save the Gambia Democracy Project. We had a heated argument because this was D1. They agreed on everything else, but who is going to lead? And according to the MOU, it's going to be done by consensus. I remember drafting, a proposal, because I knew at that time that there was no way UDP is going to yield to any of these other party leaders. And my proposal was, let's allow UDP to lead, and then there were some other safeguards that we were going to put in place. And of course, at the time, there were a lot of people, I was in UDP, there were a lot of people who said, no, they're not going to do that. know? So that leadership. But let me ask you this, though. There are people who believe that Mr. Dabo cannot win. Right or wrong, that's just what they believe. Now, do you think the parties coming together and say, okay, let's put together the framework of how this thing is going to work? What we agreed on, like Karamba was saying, the constitution that we're going to pass, getting rid of the Public Order Act, all of that. I don't think that's where the problem is going to be. Now, when it gets to who is going to lead, What do you see to the proposal that all these parties coming together, put their resources together, and then they hire Cyprus for Cyprus to go out there and do a polling data that all the parties will support? They will be like, no, this person is behind it or that person is behind it. Because like we said, what happened in 2021, a lot of things has changed. We go to the people and we run a polling of the entire country, not just UDP or NPP or all of them, like Cyprus would do. And then all the parties will say that whoever comes out to be the best candidate to run against Barrow, we will throw our support behind that individual. How do you see something like that?
That can be, that's something that's doable. But then again, on the other side of it, you'll have people raising questions about credibility because that already of Cyprus, because already people are saying, like, I don't have any problem with it. I respect their data, and I know they're working with very limited, because Gambia is basically new to this whole process of, gathering data. So I'm not going to say, oh, it's not important. Just like Mr. Dabo said, that's my approach. We're not going to dismiss it. You can bring it on board, assess it. But then you have people who already muddy the waters. As soon as you mention that, they will say, oh, we cannot trust them. So that would be the first hurdle.
The party itself will be the one.
The parties will
organizing this polling.
Exactly. So yeah, absolutely.
Is across. They just want to know who will be the individual that will be most competitive and can bring the victory. When everything is said and done, if it turns out to be Mr. Dabo, everybody will fall in line. If it turns out to be Halifa Sallah or Essa Fall or Talib, everybody will fall in line. And we will speak directly to our supporters and say, this is how the selection is going to be done.
Yeah, that's doable. If we can get all the parties to agree to modalities of doing that, like who is going to represent them on that and how it's going to go, since I'm not like a data person, like to mitigate any kind of, there was foul play or any of this here.
Yes.
If the parties can agree to that, that's absolutely doable. Like at the end of the day, everybody is going to rely on their strength. Okay, this is who I think is going to win. That's who I think is going to win. But ultimately, it is up to the parties to decide whether they're going to go on board with that. But I think it's doable if they can contribute towards that. But that also brings me to the other thing, which is mostly our issue has always been who will lead a coalition. Whenever we discuss this coalition issue, it's about leadership. In 2016-17, after the fallout, or when even before the fallout, when Halifa and Sidia decided, Honorable Halifa and Honorable Sidia, they don't like to be called that, but out of respect, decided they don't want to be part of the executive, I wrote a blog post saying, in essence, it is undermining the efforts of the coalition, even though I know the coalition was formulated 100% to get rid of Jammeh. That was the strategy. Let's push Jammeh out because the country is, basically, in my own opinion, they didn't say it, but in my opinion, 2016 was our last election. If Jammeh won, just like Sen from Banjul, the MP said we should crown him king, that was going to happen. Like 2016 was the last. He had Dabo in jail. He had all of UDP in jail. There was nothing that was going to stop him. Those people would have, never come out of mile 2, and he would have had his way. He had a National Assembly that would say yes, sir, to him, crown him king, and then we move forward. That was the end of. So there was so much at stake, and the whole concentration was on that. But in my analysis of that, I did say, if we're going to have future coalitions, why can't we build it around policies? Let's say, for example, SFL goes around the country and knows, okay, I am going to do well in this election, but it's not going to be much better than what I did in 2021. I might get an additional 2% to 5%, to get 5 or 6%. So now he knows I don't have a pathway to the presidency. I'm going to look at these parties and go to, say, for example, Halifa or Dabo and say, you guys stand a better chance. Here is my proposal. If you win, which is what Karamba was saying earlier, I want you to promise that you're going to bring the CRC draft back to the National Assembly within your first 100 days and make sure all your National Assembly members vote in support of it and then take it to the amendment stage or whatever. Can you promise me that? I worked so very hard on the TRRC and we made recommendations that is sitting and collecting dust. Can you promise that after you come to power, you're going to implement that? If they say, yes, we will do this, or anybody says, but, you say, okay, you cannot have my vote. I am going to back your the other candidate. We can put it around policies, and then people will say, "Oh, what powers do you have?" Which is where the 2016 coalition came in. It was a gentleman's agreement. There was no enforcement mechanism. In this other strategy, let's say, for example, they say UDP leads. You can say, we will allow you because you have the 27%, you are more likely, if Barrow is to lose today, one-on-one, you are more likely the person who is going to win. But because you're going to have the executive power, we want to make sure you don't have a supermajority in the National Assembly. You cannot put candidates here, there, or this other place. So out of the 100% National Assembly, we will give you 25 to 28%,
and then
so that the other parties can control you. If
Exactly.
you want to appoint somebody as Inspector General of Police, they have to come through the National Assembly with the new constitution that's already there.
Like that.
And then
that.
And then we vet them. If that person is qualified, we will pass it. So that way, Dabo doesn't have the absolute power to just appoint anybody as Inspector General of Police and fire them whenever he wants.
So you're suggesting when it gets to the National Assembly, whoever the leader is, whether it's UDP, they're only going to put up 25% of the candidates.
Yeah, they're going to have a supermajority. That's a foolproof control mechanism. You know, it doesn't need to be independent candidates or anything. We will, because of your strength, we will yield the executive to you. We will back you, your candidate, to win the presidency. But when you do, you are not. You're going to support Halifa Saleh in Serekunda West. We want him back in the National Assembly. Either him or Sidia Jata becoming the Speaker of the National Assembly, so that they have that check in. Because they are more comfortable in the National Assembly because they don't want to be beholden to an executive power, which is understandable. It's not diminishing their status because that's an important role. So we can have those two, Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and they will be elected in the National Assembly. Your party will back their speakership and deputy speakership. Yes. So Mama Kande, maybe we can give him a position in the executive, but that essentially, that's where the problem starts. So when you say executive, the president has all the powers to do whatever they please. And they're always going to appoint people that they feel are loyal to them. So when it comes to, oh, if I support you, you're going to make me minister. If I support you, I'm going to be ambassador. If I support you, that's all, to me, transactional to a certain extent. Absolutely. But we can make it so that, hey, are you going to bring back the constitution? Yes. So by the time we have the next National Assembly elections, which is immediately after the presidential election, we will have a new draft constitution ready to go to referendum. And once it is there, you are not going to affect any important appointments. For example, you will maintain the current IGP until we have the new constitution. Then you propose a new IGP, bring them to the National Assembly, we vet them, and we put them in position of power. And then, so on and so forth, depending on which, institution you're looking at. So that way, the other parties also have a control mechanism. So if you're not going to have a majority National Assembly, just like UDP proposed in 2017, parties like...
On your WhatsApp, Tukulor. I send you on your WhatsApp, Tukulor.
Even the smaller parties can have, something like 2 seats in the National Assembly. So, for example, everybody knows Serekunda Halifa has a strong presence there. So you don't put anybody up there and then create a pathway for him to go, because Barrow will still have his people. He will want to contest the National Assembly election, even if he loses. So you always have to factor that in. All of us back him so that he can come to the National Assembly. If Sidia wants to come back, Swaibu, we make sure they all come because of their experience in the National Assembly. They'll be useful, and then we can have them Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and then your party can have the majority, but it's not going to be super majority. You'll be majority leader, on top of that. That way, we can say, okay, this is our principle for backing this party. Here is policy A. We want them to implement it. The draft constitution, it has to come to the National Assembly. We want them to implement the TRRC, the Janet Commission. And I don't think any of those is a witch hunt. These things were drawn by experts. They sat together, they reviewed it and say, here's our recommendation. Implementing that is not a witch hunt. It's not going after anybody. It's just making sure mistakes from the past are punished and are not repeated. So all those proposals are there. And what I would like to say is let us all focus on trying to figure out how we can disable Barrow. Like Karamba was saying, that should be our focus right now. Like, man, I don't have any problem, because I told people everybody has to pick a hill that you're going to die on. The friends that I have, I'm not going to ruin my friendship just because they believe Mr. Dabo going to win and then they went. I'm like, okay, good luck. I don't think the way you think, I'm going to stay. So there's no needing our fee. Like it's not worth it. So
especially if we're really interested in winning. But I seriously believe There's nothing that you cannot talk over if you don't really sit down. But oh no, them right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's what that's the other thing I wanted to point to. Like sometimes some people out of anger, they will say certain things. Let's ignore those people and not amplify their voice by saying, like, nobody will say Karamba, you know, is extreme in any way. You know, he's moderate, he's on the middle ground. Why is he not representative of UDP? Why does it have to be somebody that sometimes when people mention some names, I'm like, who is that? I don't even know that person. But then they get amplified because of what they say. Sometimes people react in anger, which is understandable. You know, we all act differently. We all react differently. I try not to engage in those kinds of issues. But at the end of the day, ultimately, our goal is to remove Barrow, and everybody in the opposition is a potential partner in that. So let us not make it difficult for them. Even if it comes down to it, ultimately, like you have UMC as a political party, NPP, you know, UMC or Talib, you know, being backed by everybody else, and then UDP decided we're not going to join, and you know, so it's going to be a 3-person race: UMC, NPP, UDP, and then whoever wins, we go, and it's most likely going to be Barrow's loss. So now it's going to be between whether UMC will win or UDP.
We have Tukulor and we have Juka back, but quick question, just because in 2016 we had an existential threat. Obviously, nobody is going to say in 2026 we have the same situation of an existential threat, even though we believe that change is definitely necessary. So do you think we're confronted with the same dilemma like 2016 and we should forge an alliance no matter what? Or we can just go it alone and then let the people decide?
Like Karamba said, the more we can unite, the better for the country. Like always, that's always, there's no question about that. The more unity we can have, that's the better for us. And like you said, we don't have an existential threat in the same fashion like we did under Yahya Jammeh, because he was a tyrant. He was going to make the Gambia from Islamic Republic to, you know, whatever he wants to call it. That was what was on the table at that time, and so many deaths. Now what we have is ineptitude, complete ineptitude. Every facet of Gambian society, from the economy down, everything is just going down the drains. It is just a matter of time. Within the next 5 years, the Gambia, as we know it, will probably cease to exist. You know, we've heard about cases where China goes to countries in East Africa and, you know, claim their airport for themselves or some other institution. So we are at that situation in the country. The Barrow is not focused on anything. Look at what he is doing right now. Meet the people store, and you're there. If you're not talking about SFR, you're talking about Yahya Jammeh. If you're not talking about Yahya Jammeh, you're talking about Dabo. If you're not like, you're not addressing anything that is facing the people in the country. So everybody knows that that is the situation, and the Gambian people, to a certain extent, we are questioned because we all interrelated. We help each other out. You know, Ngasona, and then pick up the phone, WhatsApp, send a message. Somebody, you know, send you some money, then you don't really feel the hardship that is going on in the country. But that's just a matter of time. People, you know, have this wariness. So as far as existential threat, it kind of like a different fashion. We'll lose our sovereignty, not to tyranny or anything, but to ineptitude. So that's on the table. Next 5 years, we cannot afford to have it on the Barrow. That is a given. Like, it will frustrate so many people out of politics. It will create a situation where they will just have free reign to do whatever they want because people are frustrated. Like, nobody can help Gambians, so leave them alone. And that is the worst case scenario that we can think of.
We can be confronted. Nada, Bilal, you brought a whole lot on the table, and I hope the leaders are listening. I mean, I'm somebody who believes that there is nothing. Guy, you need table tas. Lumeti la de. Why so reconcile? Dina neame legi. I don't know. I've never experienced it. So
exactly, it's kind of like a track you to do Hulobi. Some problem they could regle.
You need to get everyone saying.
Jekar gi waxe mu farle ko su waxe jabar gi waxe mu farle ko jekar gi waxat mu farle ko at the ML some problem they could regle. So that's the same thing. Let's just let this thing.
That's the same thing. But Nada, I thank you immensely. I'm going to suggest that you have to be part of this panel. I mean, they really like, the way you go about things. And they like reverently everything that you have said. And definitely, we will definitely be dragging you to the platform, because like we always say, this platform doesn't belong to any individual. I don't care whether you support DOI or UMC or UDP, it doesn't matter. The people that you hear from Nimusajeng talking here, that's what he believes in.
And a lot of things you say actually do come true. It's like when passions are high and you say certain things, people will react, you know, out of that, you know, passionate this goes. But ultimately, it's like, hey, let's give chance to each other. Just like when we were talking about this coalition thing, Karambamune, like how do you put people together at the table? And then you came with that approach. It's not just putting them together at the table because they, recent divorce would not allow that to happen. But if they go out and test their strength and then they come back, now reality sets in. So you're not gonna get that,
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Thank you very much, Nata.
No problem. Keep doing the great job.
Thanks, Nata. Wa Atlanta la am garek. Ni dega Atlanta. Kata si noda.
I know. They've got farle neighbors. They got neighbors. So.
Tukulor yang fa. Tukulor, or Juka.
That's what you get for skipping me and going to Tukulor again. That's what you get.
So Juka, go ahead.
Now let's wait for Tukulor to come. No, let's wait for her to come. I'm gonna suma anti bi regular or na mane munge rose flower mi garden am.
I'm noticing that Tukulor then could shot like so I guess Juka is part of that crew as well.
No, I'm going to tell you until why ornament mung si flower me right now. I can bet you that. I can bet you that. But
what Nata is saying, the FFP doesn't really come down to, because first of all, we want to win, and obviously the consensus there is if we come together, no matter how we forge it, the chances are we have a better way, shortest way of winning.
Yeah.
But and of course he put safeguards in the thing. Now it's not.
Yeah, but see, I think we are a little bit ahead of ourselves. Like I heard what he said, and I think it would be important if there was going to be a coalition of all the political parties. Mm-hmm. But again, we have to be realistic. We have to look at the reality. What's the reality? Mm-hmm. The likelihoods of UDP, UMC, and all the other political parties, including DOI, coming together in a coalition is very slim. We can all sit here and have wishful thinking, of course, right? We would all want that because the easiest way to get rid of Barrow. Mm-hmm. But now you have to think about the likelihoods of that happening. And then even if that happens, then we get rid of Barrow, then what? Mm-hmm. Even with all the beautiful things he mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. Are they going to follow through?
Yeah.
You are bringing different people with different ideology, with different, just very different. Yeah, you understand? Because that is also another reason why, fundamental difference, because that's one of the reasons why there's a breakup within UDP. Mm-hmm. So we cannot continue to pretend that didn't happen. That is our reality as we know it right now. Mm-hmm. Can they move past it? I doubt it because they have fundamental differences. Mm-hmm. Because it took fundamental differences for them to actually say goodbye to each other. Because anything else beyond that, if it wasn't that major, I'm sure they would have figured out how to work it out and continue. Mm-hmm. But they broke up for a reason. Mm-hmm. It's almost like if you say, okay, I'm done with this guy, and then 5 years later you go back to them, it's the same, most likely the same people, same personality. Mm-hmm. The only difference is the time, but it's the same people, the same personalities. If you haven't done the work, it's not going to change. Mm-hmm. So now, the chances of Nyom together, man, I don't see it happening. I hope they can prove me wrong. Okay? Because also you have to remember the bad blood between UDP and DOI is there. Let's not be oblivious to that.
It is there.
It's there. Mm-hmm. Right? And this is why it is so important in life. Whenever you do things, do it the right way. We have to be careful because again, if things didn't go so ugly after 2016, perhaps now it'd be easier to have that conversation. But the reality is, we all saw what happened after 2016, the first few years, Halifa Ninkogene, all that stuff. It's there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You understand? Now, yes. Okay, then you pass a FOFU. Then nga ñëw si UDP, not dinañ allow anybody else to lead. from anywhere else, because Karamba, you have to come with an open mind. Yeah, but you are conflicting with your messaging because you're saying you come in with the open mind. It's nothing against what him. It's just we're just having a discussion, right?
Right.
Objectively, he said you have to come in with an open mind. Certainly, coming and saying you are the biggest political party and you have to lead is not an open mind. So the messages there are conflicting, right? so bobu tam you know. Okay, so kenen kita mo mune an electable candidate. So obviously, with a preconceived notion, you come on the table. But everything else, negotiate, you figure out. When it comes to UDP, man, I genuinely do not see them allowing anybody else to lead but themselves. And this was again from now Nata Mala. I think mentioned nako because they had a fundamental difference. Ñu dem léegi suñ demee léegi ñoom ñu am a process in place boo xam ne mooy tànn seen leader bi so tànnee leader UDP, those people are gonna have a problem with it. So tànnee UMC leader, the other side is gonna have a problem with it. Man, what I see that it may happen and should happen, right, is perhaps having a third will. From day one, I've been saying this because Nikki, mun nga tok nga am a wishful thinking, but you also have to think about reality. You cannot just be gullible nga tok de halat lo xamne it's not possible. Reality. Lan moy suñ reality, UDP ak UMC pour ñu ñew together, the chances are very slim.
Extremely slim, yeah.
Now UMC doy Essa Fall, the Sobeya, sorry, Mange also name as individual, but the parties, for them to come together, the chances are higher because among the history, among the bad blood between them, they all start in fresh slate. But by the time in a way, I don't think any of them will come in with like the idea ñun rek la wara nekk if not do am. But when you have UDP in the equation, that is going to be the energy. With these other people, I don't see that being the issue because again, ñoom ñep they are new in a way. Yaa ngi gis.
Why Juka? Xaaral ma may la ci tuuti de.
Wow.
If you talk about the third rail, that has always been my go-to, going all the way back to 2021. And I still believe in that third option. Don't think for a minute when you listen to SI, when you listen to all these parties, your mother Kandeh, your Halifa, that somehow it's much easier for them to come together and form a coalition.
No, it wouldn't be.
They are going to be confronted with the same.
Yes, because they're all human, right? But again,
when I said a winnable candidate, he's really looking at himself.
No, but no, that's subjective. You cannot say he's looking at himself, and that argument is valid. We cannot. Hara Musa.
Requirement.
Hara Musa. My don't so quote. Hara, my don't quote. My don't quote. Akasa. Okay, we move. I have to joke. Okay, but this is the reality. That point that he brought on the table, he's been objective. That is a reality. That Lolo has to happen. It has to be a winnable candidate. Because without a winnable candidate, Baromo Faneka.
Correct.
So I agree with him. Now, come Limwa, and I actually agree with what he said. Obviously, Limwa Koko, he's being candid. He was like, you know what? This is the reality. Or any one of us could get to lead. Lead. Of course, he's been honest. Why again? What are the willingness for each one of them to be open enough to allow a process bohamne, right? It would be fair. And then if anybody else that person would lead. For them, the chances of that happening is very likely. At least that's what I think. At least that's what I think, and that's what I would hope for. Because they have to be part of this. Because most likely. So they have to have a coalition. So I believe third will is a way to rescue us. Now, Karamba, amna lumde walu make sense. Ne? So third will ame. Or su fekkee ne ñoom génne ñele ñooñu ñele génne nañ Baro. Sala. su fekkee UDP ñoo génnee Barrow moom he believes that UDP can do it. That's fine. Man, I don't believe that. But su fekkee UDP génnee nañ Barrow, fine. You know what, kii Musa? Because it's not only pour ñu am a change of government, waaye pour ñu hold suñ democratic process be in place as a country. You move few steps forward, close to democratic process or democracy in Gambia in terms of term limit or in terms of 10 years presidency is imminent pour ñun li ñoo nekk di here pour democracy Gambia. Because Barrow mu passe another 5 years or mu passe this 10 years, loolu moo mean ne liñ xeexoon against Jammeh, everything has been wiped away again. Because that's the threat. Even if development doesn't happen after Kinyo next time, guess what? The voters, the people, didn't subconscious, we didn't understand it. Now they have the power pour ñu fa génnee it after 10 years or after 5 years to deliver out. And you understand?
Yes.
So Simon, whether UMC la or a coalition will happen under a third wheel or UDP la, even though UDP, if they win or Sunfaneke, man, I would like to see a lot of things even before going them coalition. I mean them Guinea for Barrow election. The gentleman that was here earlier was speaking and was saying, when we have to avoid the noise. There are a lot of people that do things and then whatever his wording was, and then we amplified by saying it. But for me, I see this as a threat and I see it as a problem. Not all UDP supporters, but some of these UDP supporters, the way they behave online. And I think the UDP executive and UDP members, someone like him, he seems like he's very rational, should also be concerned with this. Because not only does it reflect badly on in their party, but it's also a threat to people speaking their minds when it comes to the political environment in Gambia. And that has to happen. We have to safeguard people's rights when you speak for or against something or a political party. There's nothing wrong with that. And some of them have made it almost unbearable and unacceptable pour nit ki pour mu jog mu wax halatam. And they have to think about that because lolu mu ngi leena yaal one way or the other. You understand? How many tukulor ñew na buguma aki mo wax bi yep.
No, Juga, man bilay finga ñewé. I absolutely do agree. The chances of a third force coming together, Mufa. But I also do know, whenever I listen to these politicians, these are people that kind of believe they can win it alone. Because Esa, he wants to make sure he's in the running. When I listen to Talib and the movement, which I'm part of, I believe Talib is the candidate that can not only win, can transform this country. I believe that in my heart of hearts. There is obviously a part of me that believes, Bigina Yomba, the sorest way is for us to come together in order to deliver the goods come December 6th. Because I wasn't born yesterday. I have seen elections and I've heard disappointments. And I've remind Karambane, election after election after election, and it didn't pan out. Because of the kind of the Gambian voter, the Gambian voter, and the way we think. Now, maybe this would be the first time, heck, because the country is not under any existential threat. Let them go. Let's kuchineka them, and then we see what's going to happen. But I wish that there is a third force. Mama Kande doesn't believe me. This is what's going to happen. He's going to say, I am the one who had 100,000 votes come 2021. I am the one going back to 2016 who actually made the change possible because of my performance, taking a lot of votes from. But that's going to be the GDC argument. And so I should be the candidate. For Doi, I think they are more into the process. Now, there is a legitimate, credible process. I don't think Halifa Sallah or Side Jata would say, Man Mako lead Odu Am. How do I know that? Because I've seen, going all the way back to the NAT days, that has never been their position. Nako lead like Omuyahu, did it? What they believe in, there should be a process in place that we all subscribe to. And whoever comes out in that process, that person is going to be the candidate. Esa, listening to him, I hope he can subscribe to a process like that. The same thing with the movement, because the movement believe with Talib Bensouda that the time is now and that change is imminent, and they have the voters out there based on the youth, the unaffiliated, and that people are tired of the NPP and the UDP, and they will be seen as and they see that as a path to victory. I mean, so that's the reality we're dealing with. More money, go and canvass votes. Nga xam fu sa poids adu Sénégalais yi fu sa poids tollu xam nga kenn du nax boppam, I would believe. And then if we can forge an alliance, that is the best way to do it, if that is possible. So Dr. Cisse reacted to my suggestion of UMC and UDP going to Kaur and just talk about it. He had an issue with that, because when you talk, anything can happen. And again, in as much as in politics 1 year is a lifetime, yes, it's a long time. A lot of things can happen. So, and in his reaction tells you that they're scared of it. But anyway, there is a gentleman that just joined us. His name is James Macaulay, right? Let's give him see what he has to say. James, what's up?
Yeah, good evening, Musa.
Good evening, sir. How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Doing well, doing well. So what do you have for us today, my good friend?
Yeah, there's a delay. I don't know if it's from my side.
Where are you calling from, if I may ask?
I'm calling from Spain.
Spain. Go ahead. We're hearing you, though.
Ah, good. Good. Good to know. Just to put in my piece. Musa, we've been watching, we've been following you guys, and this is really appreciated. And again, Gambia is our country, and this is the time for us to come together to call for the change that we all looking and waiting for our country, our beloved country, the Gambia. Now, in my own opinion, I think the Barrow government can be defeated even without the coalition.
Without
the coalition. Yeah. Of course, with the coalition is the
shortest way.
Is the easiest. It's supposed to be the easiest, but can be defeated without the coalition. This is also another possibility, in my own belief. Again, also looking at the divorce between UDP and Talib Bensouda, we do not see the possibilities of them coming back together, to form a coalition, just as you and your folks have been saying the other day, last week.
No, I called you earlier, but you didn't respond, and that's when Juka kind of...
Yeah, because I waited for so long, and then the StreamYard skipped me.
No, I
thought I was waiting. I saw two screens. Why Mahara Damafi yaga ganagi money, you know what? Harama watch a joiner. Why be on Mansol and Mabai Moa? The Madam Biden and them smile. Madam Gera Katlade Manpola.
No, we'll get that.
No, Musa Harama Bai to Kulor Moa after Man continue.
No, James, continue, Damato Musa.
Tukulo Nanga Buga dem Nama by James Mudem.
No, not by James, the young Madega.
Mangla Dega, wow.
Yeah, James Demal.
James, go ahead.
Musa, comme li ma doon wax rek ñun ñëpp gis nañ nim demee diggante UDP ak Talib. We do not think there is any chance for guys ñëwaat together, in forming a coalition towards the 2026 presidential election. one thing lima si buga yo correct moy, you know, respectfully, deme na nim deme. Ku nekk nga doxal sa sorte, sa chance. Yeah, and we've seen man, you know, jox na Ba Ousainou Darboe cër respect ak every other Gambian jox ci biir réew mi. We've seen all the good things, all the sacrifices he has done. Yep, gis nañ ko, nangu nañ ko. But ñun dañ foog ne ñun ndaw yi dañ foog ne, you know, there is time to give the young folks a chance, you know, to give politics a different dimension, you know, just exactly linguist Talif ak teamam bi di def.
Wow.
And it's high time also to change the narrative also. Based on what has been here before. Gis nañ politics naka lañ ko daan doxale. People going after each other instead of focusing on what the problems of the Gambian people are. Instead of focusing on what can we do to better the life and the livelihood of the Gambian people. Gis nañ lum jaral doomi Adama to do anything and everything to be there, to be in power, to be in position. But we've seen a different narrative with Talib and his team. Yeah. Musa, am na yu bari yi xew yi nga xam ne ni Gambian people yi war nañ ko bàyyi xel te bàyyiñ ko xel, man suma foog ak suma gis-gis. Gis nga soo followee Talib interview sami mu ngi laa wonal ne whatever that has been discussed indoors moom ak Ba Ousainou loolu seen diggante ñoom ñaar la te cër la pour moom mu bàyyi ko si suuf. That was meant for the two of them. Loolu pour ñoom ñaar la. Musa, not only limited to that, gis nañ Talib, a lot of people have been going after him even before moom muy bàyyi UDP, even before he left the UDP. We've seen that. Yet he has moved away and come to form the Unite Movement for Change. Belegi nit yaa ngi toppa but when you look at the trend, he has not responded. Nekut di delo, di follow, di respond to these individual attacks. And that is giving us that hope of a difference. Yeah, we have a hope of a different politics for the Gambian people and for the future. Yeah. Not only that, moom mu ngi bàyyi movement bi mu nekka pour ndaw yi, pour nit ñi. For us. Just like your slogan here, for the people,
by the people.
By the people. It's a similar thing that this dude is trying to bring across. Not only that, we've seen the development that he has made through the KMC. Ñun ñëpp gis nañ loolu. Hana ku buguta gis rek. Yeah. So man dama foog ne, you know, ñu Gambian people bi moo wara eewu si naxaate bi. Yeah. ñu bokka ñun ñëpp ñu jiital ki nga xam ne ni kooku lañ foog ne is a winnable candidate, just like Essa Faal did say the other day on his interview. You know, maa ngi la dégg si kanam tuuti yow ak kii ni Karamba. I think he was right. He was truly right. He said képp ki ñoo jiital should be a winnable candidate. You cannot direct that to him as an individual. Yeah. Nañ delluwaat to the records. This could be one of the problems that the UDP has been facing over the years, Musa. Yeah, we are not saying kenn gisut njuuj njaaj wala ñaawteef bi nga xam ne Ba Ousainou boobu la def si biir réew mi. Yeah, but then li ñu war a jiital mooy, you know, that winnable candidate that Essa Faal did make mention. Yeah. Somebody is saying out of the people that had passed through here, somebody is saying it should not be centered on the love for person. Holal, so amute qualities yi nga jiitale nit yi. Chofel binga fok ne bobu la niti amal du fa muna neka. People are loving them. People are liking them based on where we need them. We don't love Talib because he is called Talib Bensouda. In fact, way back, we don't know him. Hamunko.
Definitely.
We are loving him based on his positions, what he is rendering, his sound mind, the love he has to drive this country to where we want it to be. And this is why nit yanko love. So buñ reer fofu. Not only ne rek dafa am ñoo xamne dañ la soppa ngir ki nga doon. No. Ngir li ngay njëriñ askan bi. This is why nit yi dinañ rally behind you. Of course, it's natural. Am na ñoo xam ne dinañ la bugga rek te yàlla tax. Loolu bépp doomi adama am nga loolu. Yeah, but then the majority here is behind Talib because we see the future with him, in him. So Musa, man, this is the small thing I have to add to this program. You bringing it to our doorpost. Every Sunday we are seated and be waiting for this program. Because it takes us back home. Ñuy gis di yek di xam lepp li nga xam ne ni mo ba pare mu ñu tamit ñu mëna participate ñu mëna bokka. Sometimes they would say the diaspora amuñ but we also ñun tamit am nañ influence because here we are, we in one way or the other we can communicate to our people back home, our family members, our friends, our relatives, based on where we belong to. So Musa, ñu ngi la gërëm is unfortunate your team members are not here, Seriang and Coach Basamba Jao. But looking forward to see them come next week.
No, James, they call. Yo, Mom, I like some of the things that you're saying. Without a doubt.
I know. We are in this together, Musa. Thanks so much. Yeah. Good night.
Hi, thank Tukulor. Tukulor. Yang gis de Tukulor. Mangla o tide. Juga. Yang gis mange o Tukulor.
Musa, Musa, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I don't know what's Telfong Nadal. Tesserian is underneath blocking me.
Sister Flower, you ain't know what again. Sister Flower, you ain't know what again. So what happened?
You can see say linga ban mawah laiwa moine. Not a mask is smarter than Pata. So what I Timabu gonna duga Musa Moi Gambians need to be measured in their politics. Because Gisna party militantly and political commentators were different. You mean like a political commentators, we don't suffer any consequences because guess what? We are saying what our opinions are from outside. Political militants now. So why you them ne saga nga dem gadi manege like said dinañ ma diw sangam saga na su ko defé mané ha send me luñ saga, but when I hear it it's more like disagreeing with what the person said. So te gis nga man Musa man saga fu mako gis lo nek suma xarit dina ñap sa kaw because man depuis time living bi struggle bi dama decide ne man ken duma set kuma jegen ci saga nit ma bayila non. So we need to kind of take what is criticism. Sometimes those criticisms can be very harsh. Yo, kanyata yon nga setan CNN. Fox News, yo, Musa Jek, do ko de setan?
No.
Because I'm gonna Fox News, accuse of values, accuse of principles. Damut, so dolin setan. So need to speak and criticize a particular buguloko. By komudam. I'm going to tell the party militant something. Muy sobeya, muy NPP mom ñom fi mané ka ñom everybody have nañ ko muy UDP muy the movement focus on making sure you push your party's agenda so that who you are supporting can win. We are all fighting an incumbent. We are all the only way that an incumbent can easily lose is where the democracies are more advanced, where the politics is much more mature, more stability. ñun Gambia incumbent bi fen ak am xaalis loolu la nekkee di with hearts because look at Barrow right now, Musa Jeng. You are seeing all this naka they're saying that Mugabe build trailways in Gambia. Why didn't he do it in 11 years that he's been president? He is building roads that lead to schools, and why didn't he do that? Why did he wait until a year before a political season? And this is what he did in 2021. And Gambians are like, you know what? We don't trust UDP because you don't want to hear. So you know, you sanil Barrow. But pare lo lum ñu def ñu sanni ni yakabun hari. Them they enrich himself, the people around him are enriching themselves even more. So Gambian bien political militants ngeen social media. By len hel ci lolu. A lot of them do what they do because it gets them more likes, and with more likes you get more money from Facebook. Lolu moy dega bi Musa Jeng.
Moy dega.
The political parties they need to distance themselves from these people. Some political party militants, they are up there. They are liking what their militants are doing on social media because you're not winning any points. You're not winning any votes by letting those lunatics drive your party's agenda. Nata mas ninko gisni man nata mas na binda dina nyemeng madam binda si nata mas because hamna ne kuma respect la.
Yeah, it's very level.
Sehu said the program Musa Jeng. Dema de duga for rube for bem nehma because Sehu is somebody who knows me and respects me, even though that's a UDP platform.
Yes.
Why gis nga ñu ci jamana jo xamne? And another thing, liga xam the time is struggle bi ba jame nekkon nit ñi ragal bi ñi ragalon ragalatuñ ko.
No.
Te man ni nga gis ni there are some people ñoo xamne xamone nañ ma time bobu nga xamne time bobu kuma ne ni rek ma joy. They are pushing party militants to come after me. But those days are gone. Ken ragalut fi ken fay suma bil luma neex lay wax luma neex lay binda luma neex lay def. I don't have anything to lose. Well, you have a lot to lose because people know the credibility of Tukulor. People know the impact of Tukulor. So nekalen fofu ngeen ne yen ku wax rek ngeen jox xas leen di leen wax kii di Sambati Njie yow màgget nga yow da nga mun a fen yow demal uti jëkkër. That is not gonna work this time around. If anything, Musa, I was heartbroken when I called a cousin in Gambia. 2021 manako hamna ne bugulo UDP. Why the manga sanil UDP? Because Barrow Suwine, things are gonna get worse. You know what she told me? And I was pissed at her for a while. Munama awasi mange dem sanil Halifa. Hamna ne win. Why mange sanil Halifa? Because you know UDP li ñoo def ni social media. Man duma bay ñoo ñu suñ toge fi man nekk di ko explain na man ko non man sax ñi nga ani dañ ma dé saga executive bi duñ ma dé saga mu ne ma li ma gis la la wax. But guess what she did? She lives in KMC. When the second time around mu ñoo muy ré mu ne ma guess what mu ne ma nge sanel talib gis na ne yow yak ñom juka ak ñeneen ñi social media yeen nge support talib pour me yo Manko support because of what he has done in KMC, not because he's part of UDP.
Yeah.
So then what about in hell? Fimne kan ni so say lindewa mir kulumbula la be miran kilig moy ne ñun ñep ci ben gal bi lañ nek ñun ñep ci ben bol bi lañ wara leka. How can we do to amplify our messages to Gambians? Is to be one. Is to make sure that you don't castigate others. Because the time you're spending castigating people is going to lose you a vote. Somebody's going to see it and say, you know what? Lilia Tahsen Party bisa, buguma fa anda. And then guess what? They're going to find an excuse again to go and vote for Barrow. I'm warning Gambians. If Adama Barrow, subhanallah, if Adama Barrow wins these elections, billahi lingen di elect, moy opalingen di daj. To those of us that are in the diaspora, we have nothing to lose. We have nothing to gain in Gambia. But what we're doing it because we want a better Gambia for those on the ground. Because we talk to people on the ground that we're not even related to, that come to us for help. We want their lives and livelihoods to improve. Because we don't get
Of course.
nothing in America.
Of course.
because we've been offered jobs and we said no. Yep, since 1994, we joined the struggle, not because we wanted something for ourselves, but because we want a better Gambia. And that's where we are up to this point. Yes, we may make decisions, we may say things, but take it with a pinch of salt. If somebody says something against your party or your party leader that you believe is not true, you demal ak yaru ak tegin and say, you know what? This is what Tukulor said. I don't believe in it, but this is what my party's agenda is. And this is where I agree with you, Tukulor. That is better than yen ku wax rek ngeen dem tok diko caricature di jël natali nit ñi ne yalla. People who see that ku bëggona join sen party start to join sen party. Today's politics is different from yesterday's politics because Gambians dañ sonna. Gambians want change, but they will only entrust that change in the hands of people that they feel are measured, people that they feel have empathy, because being measured and having empathy is how you're going to get up and go rule the Gambia and give the people what they deserve. Thank you, Musaja.
Thank you very much. Very profound, Tukulor, without a doubt. Definitely. I don't see any reasonable person can disagree with what you say. I mean, Karamba always said, not only do we hold on to a base, but we also go after the persuadable, whatever the hell the word is, people out there that you can persuade. How do you do that? I mean, measured is really one thing. You have to be very measured and show them that you can make the difference and it will be a different Gambia. I mean, and that can be done. And nobody doubts when you listen to somebody like Natamas, I mean, he's someone that can persuade people. Karamba, the same thing. It's not like the UDP, they don't have individuals that can do that. I mean, yeah. Now, in every party and in every entity, you have the lightning rod. I mean, when they call me names, they call me every name in the book. I mean, that wouldn't really make me support UDP. I mean, it just doesn't work for me. So, I mean, and that's basically the gist of your argument. Let's for us to consolidate our democracy, ñun ku nekk dinga far fi nga far. What you cannot do is question my motivation. Lana tax ma far fi ma far. To you, you think that it's because of A, B, and C. But I could basically use the same thing against you, na your finger far, li ak li ak li ak lila. So for me, I think that's a waste of time for trying to kind of decipher people's motivation for supporting UDP or not supporting UDP, for supporting DOI or not supporting DOI. Because I mean, it's just,
you know what, Musa, I want to add something quickly, Fufu. I'm not lower. And you reference Karamba. I feel like the people that were in this struggle during Jame, that did everything possible for New Guinea for Jame, and we fought together like sisters and brothers, like family, really. Most of us. I feel like I don't see any of those people, whether they are core supporters of UDP or UMC or UDPNs or DOI. I don't see them attacking activists and people in the media.
No.
It's only the newcomers or people perhaps that were in the struggle but more on the back seat, right? They were not as how can I say, they were not as dedicated, or they were not getting their hands dirty, right? Those are the people that are castigating people and insulting people and, you know, marginalizing people or trying to. Man, Lord, I'm not, because it's not effective. So that maybe I should rephrase it and say those are the people that are trying to, because they're just trying. They're not successful in what they are doing. They're just trying. With some people, they may be successful with it, but certainly the likes of me, you, and Tukulor and other people, they're failing woefully.
Definitely.
So comme le Tukulor wax rek, it's up to them now. It's either they change the way they are doing things or they continue to do things the way they are doing. Man, I've made it clear. The harder they hit, the louder I am going to be with the situation. Point blank period. That's my strategy. If they don't want to hear it, let them figure out a way to talk to their party supporters or members, or some of these lunatics, you know, social media, for them to figure out how to stop them. Or at least distance themselves from them. That's the only thing. Because Accountability is important. We cannot continue to dismiss and say, well, it's few people here and there, or you cannot pay attention to them, or let's rise above the noise, blah blah blah. No, this is an institutional problem. It is. Because you are making it almost impossible for, let's say, the next 5 years after Barrow Sofitoge, hopefully not. Somebody else that wants to get up and speak on Gambia's affairs, they're going to say, I'm not. They're not going to. Because they've seen what happened to you and other people. People like me and you, we're strong enough. But there are a lot of people, they will calculate all those things and sit back. Lord, can more affect Gambia. So, man, it's part of my mission. I will continue to fight against things like this. System change. Barrow changes. But pour ñu am dëkk boo xam ne dafa am conducive political environment. Activists yi di jóg di wax, jigéen yi jóg di wax. Man bi ma ñëwee si struggle bi. Look at the people that I look up to. Women. It was not that many of them speaking.
Yes.
Definitely. It was Siga Jang, Ndeye Jobate, anti Tukulor ak anti Tuku Jallow. These are the people I look up to and say, realize, oh, you know what, I can fit in here. Because before Sumatone around, all I see is Musa Jang, Uncle Coach, Papa Kini, Bankamane, and you guys are yelling and screaming and during the meetings. And I'm like, oh my God, do I fit in here? Yeah. But then when I hear Siga Jang, I'm like, okay, I actually do fit in here. Yeah. You see? So it's important, put you a conducive environment, put everybody, put you wasan halat. Te dañ wara accept ne nit ki neeku toujours dafa ànd ak yow. Why even su nekkee sa opponent or su àndut ak yow political party yow li nga taxawal am na right pour mu wax si as long as saagawut la, as long as xam nga castigatut la. Anti Tukulóor yow man dinaa toog platform di saaga.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm brutally honest though. I don't filter my beliefs and my thoughts for anybody or pour please people. I don't do that. Because if that's the case, I might as well stay home and shut my phone down and not be involved in Gambians' affairs.
Definitely.
But then what allow people to be new. But now, hamna ne yo tay mom sa gaay ñu la daw motax mané hara ma ñu ma wétali la. It is a very important conversation in terms of the coalition.
Or cancel the show because definitely the last minute be Chilean understand both of them will not be able to make it. So my thing was, are we going to cancel? So I'm going to let me call the usual suspects in Karamba because we were going back and forth about this coalition and I thought maybe we can talk about it. But you see how it went. You came on and then
Thank you.
And Esa Jaula. This James fellow and all the guys that called in. And like we discussed last week or 2 weeks ago, that we're going to start doing that, allowing people to also say their piece. The very people that are kind of criticizing some of the things. In the heat of the moment, you say things you're hamne. I mean, people are going to take it a little bit differently.
So Ismaila Cisse is mad at you for...
Like, I don't... Mujaral ko mudembe Peter Gomez. And Muneman might the architect behind the movement, which man bandole la may hala jo. Bebe wala dole bobu to tell Taliban to that Jom Kemo to bolt out of the UDP. These are people that barely know me. I've never spoken to Kemo Bojang in my life.
Anga li moy problème Gambia dañ mun sos.
I've never. Now, Taliban Suda, I met him in Gambia last year at a wedding. More that picture that we took. The first time, the guy doesn't know me from Adam. And now, some of the things that I say here on the platform, I mean, I can understand people adding one and one, okay. But for an information minister? Seriously?
Musa, ñu ne man Talib daf ma dig ambassador.
Money bena affaire nala ko wax fi. And you can keep this. Save this. Su fekkee ne Talib daf ma dik one su mine man dina am position as minister yalla bu win.
I mean,
yalla bu win.
Yeah, it's funny.
People. It's not about that.
Yeah.
Now, I like the guy. I really do. I like his demeanor. I like when he goes to interviews, the way he answers questions. I really do like that. I mean, he knows what he's talking about.
He's gifted. He's gifted.
He is what
he's gifted, and he has a.
They can never be. I used to like Doctor. I used to see him as the fresh face, smart, the new generation. I mean, Pasama always the moko de Tony. Demba munema liba na chiyo. I was the man support Citizen Alliance.
I don't know. There was something about Doctor, his personality. Humility is lacking, and that is very important in terms of leadership. Man mun na tok fi as an activist awma lolu, yo amuloko. I'm just saying. But in terms of a leader, you have to have that. And I never saw that with Doctor. With Ismaila Ceesay, I'm sorry, samanko oye Doctor. Red Kasongo, musuma gis lolu si mom. Wallahi azim. Musuma gis lolu si mom.
Mental. Look what he told D.A. Jao of all people. Kokongi know, saying all the right things. Neko Doctor, you are one of the most effective information minister ever, including myself. But then he said, Sumaron yo, do not watch the way I engage and then keep the politics in a certain way. Doctor came out of nowhere. Basically, Neko, keep your advice to yourself. I don't need it. You're the most incompetent.
Hangaman Ismaila Ceesay, munuma understand. And to be honest with you, the guy is not even that smart. I'm sorry. Ismaila is not that smart. He's not. Like, genuinely speaking, I'm not saying this because Ismaila Ceesay la nyunko mere blah 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 Gambia government baro. No, when I watch his ways and position binko johni numko handle, the guy is not smart. He's not. Because munge fail. Because if anything, the fagena isil heat and hate towards Barrow. And that means he's not doing his job effectively. Mom, if anything, man, anyway, I'm not even going to sit here because I don't want them to do it. Let them continue. They shoot themselves on their foot. Because you bury then JP Adama Barrow, see, youth, see, Hale, TikTok. Man, I engage with these youths all the time, see TikTok. You bury then hate Adama Barrow because of particularly Ismaila Ceesay ak Sabally. Daf leen isil moo noon daf ko isil moo noon ñaar ñooñu dañ isil Adama Barrow moo noon ma wax la ko tey.
Monday, Pasamba I've always said, especially when he became the information minister, now Lulufi, he's going to be an asset to this government. There are things that he has done. I thought, information ministers in the past, they haven't done that.
He tried, but he couldn't sustain it. He couldn't sustain it because you know why? Because they're not genuine. It's not driven from genuinity. Literally, the reason why some of those tactics were put in place was because they were trying to figure out, okay, how do we position Barrow for him to be likable? How do we position this whole government for them to pass beyond 2026? It was nothing about Gambians and the plight of Gambians and nakala ñoom advance Gambians affairs. No. Adama Barrow ak ñim andal, every single thing that they are doing now has nothing to do with Gambia and Gambians. It has everything to do with ñoom salvage seen position past 2026 strategically nak ñoom ñep ci kaw bi ci suuf lool mo nekk seen agenda. The Gambia's plight, they are so disconnected. Gambia's plight nekkut seen issue. Man dama ne bëgg pour Gambians ñu understand li. I wish there was a way ma xoli Gambians pour you understand what I'm trying to actually articulate. This government, Adama Barrow, ñoom Ismaila Ceesay, gengam bi yep, the ñoom ñep dal, genuinely billahi wal kitabi. Everything they are doing now, naka la ñoo continue after 2026. That's it.
I put the link there. This platform is not only for members. Then I put it there. Whoever comes. Let me correct you. But I have never said nay. Taliban stood up for him to become the flag bearer or move bolt out of UDP. I don't know. No, some of these comments.
Okay, sorry.
Misinformed, and people run away with it. Man, you become the bolt out. I've never said that. So for you to come here with a statement like that, yeah, Moko Oduga, young man, take a look from a decade. Now,
Musa
always said, I would prefer him to be the flag bearer because for me, that is a winning formula. Yes, I did say that. And I've never minced my words when it comes to saying that. And of course, there are a lot of people in UDP, they bolted out. Obviously, they were reading the same tea leaves that I was reading. So, but anyway.
Thank you, Musa. Man mabaila. Why
Yeah,
you will continue to experience those kind of people more for sure. So good luck.
Yeah,
because
thank you.
because you don't let block. Ñun TikTok mom ku ñew wax naka
You
do
block.
block rek.
No, ñun duñ block.
Why you don't let block, don't let mute. Ñun nak TikTok lañ
People
nekk.
by the people.
Okay, bye.
We say things that we don't like, but it comes with the territory. But I want to thank everyone that tuned in today.
Thank you, Musa. Bye.
Thank you, Juka. At least we made a program out of this. It was either we cancel it. I decided to roll the dice, and it was good. We had Karamba, Natamas. The first guy that called, I believe his name was Ibrahima from Italy, he said. James, obviously. And my in-law from Germany, Esa Jaula, and a lot of other people that that called in. We are going to keep doing this. In the last hour of this program, we're going to open it up and allow people to speak their mind. People that can also disagree with us, because we don't have a monopoly on the truth or the monopoly on ideas. And I'm sure hundreds of you out there, you have a totally different point of view. So we would love to give you the opportunity to do just that as well. And we want to thank, of course, who else but Global Properties for sponsoring this program. And all of you, if you want to buy a nice house in the Gambia, affordable, hey.
No deposit, flexible payment plans, and lots of discounts. Get your Legal apartment today.
Yes, and again, thank all of you for tuning in. We will be back next Sunday, inshallah. Bye.